off on the market.
Yeah, and this is the more important part, especially starting out on Lijiang Tower. It's a very smart choice from T1W because they only really have one, if not a second map here on Night Market where they aren't forced to play DPS, but you see right off break, they're already running out here with Mijia on the Doomfist, Silver 3 on the Hamster. This is a solo tank composition. It's a lot of frontline oppression.
And a lot of consistent damage coming out of potentially the Soldier, but Silver does get hacked and also biotic grenaded, so was very low for a time, but is able to escape with his life just narrowly so. Erkey trying to do what he can to not only hold on to the point, but try to build this Zarya charge. He's not quite to where he wants to be yet, but T1W having a hard time breaking in against this formidable front. Now finally it will be that Hamster rolling in, trying to find some damage, but the point will open it for LGD. So now you can just play this for delayed as possible. Mija's the first one down, and Wanli, this is a player that we talked about in brief, but his Sombra lately has looked very clean and polished, most specifically against Flag Gaming. There is no response for Flag, and so far he's been finding a lot of effectiveness here against T1W.
Yeah, I highlight T1W's composition, and now they're finally taking the swaps. It's a very wrong decision to take that fight initially, especially with Wanli on the Sombra. It's a huge bait, especially with the 3-2-1 composition that LGD are running. They already have the point. It's a bait. They want you to go into them, especially on the Hamster. There's so much ult charge already going over. Wanli has the EMP ready.
Oh, but Tanshu, he dives in and then immediately charges backwards. This is a player to keep an eye on to see. Typically, well, in the history, he sometimes over-aggresses. Here comes the EMP, though, trying to start things off. It will actually hit the two frontliners. Tanshu able to find the backline of Ouya, and now that he's boosted up, he's just going to freely slap around, just swing forehead, and that's going to be enough to take down a couple. It will be a Meteor Strike going up, trying to come right back down, but it looks like Mijia will just back on out with that Meteor Strike. LGD will reflip the point, only 13% given up.
It was a fantastic disengage, all things that were being done there from LGD Gaming. Yes, Tangxi went for a wild charge, but the rest of the team of LGD were able to back them up and reassess the point. They gave the space over to T1W, and again, though Mijia was able to find a pick, use the Meteor Strike, and to no avail, only 13%, immediate Graviton gets stuck to the wall.
Just the counter out, Mijia jumping in, and once again, off of that, T1W has to back up. This is going to be at least another 10 to 15%, which is totally worth it for the side of LGD. They still have an Earth Shatter, and of course, they still have a Sound Barrier, so they can delay this point for even longer.
Yeah, and you know what's really funny, too, is that T1W, they only have the two supports versus LGD. I mean, I know it's just a Brigitte, but there's a lot of frontline sustain that LGD Gaming have over T1W, so that solo grab is free. There was no way that they were going to be able to keep Mijia alive. It's just time on the clock. 82%. The Shatter gets blocked. This fight could go on for a while.
And immediately after that, the Sound Barrier comes through, so LGD wants to play aggressive, and they have an Earth Shadow of their own. Here comes the counter grab on a High-B. Big Biotic Grenade. Hits 4 players. Only one of them fall, though. But for T1W, they still have so much health on their side. This will surely be a cleanup. But again, it comes at the cost of what will look to be right around the 98% mark. A very good first hold here for LGD. Actually gets all the way to 99, so that's totally worth it if you're LGD.
And they have the EMP to walk back into. T1W ended up using the Sound Barrier in that last fight, the only sort of sustain that they possibly have, so they need to fight this out. They need to punch their way through this next fight to sustain into a next fight. And for a defense here on Night Market, Shift, this is very devastating because both teams don't have a Diva. Both teams are running Ana, and that's the one thing. If you don't have the barriers readily available, that Purple's going to find massive value. You need to block it off if you're the Reinhardt, or you need to keep your barriers available for the cleanse if you're the Zarya.
Nano Boost also available here for Secret, which will allow Tanshu to get aggressive if he so chooses to. EMP comes over the head, it finds 5, and Molren's immediately down by a Biotic Grenade. Boosted up as Tanshu, and now they can just rotate over to the point, try to zone out T1W. High-B also just about half HP. A little bit of a sleep, so a consolation prize potentially for T1W.
Get on the point.
But here comes the rally. They have to contest for as long as possible. A couple ultimates are coming close, but another Biotic Grenade comes through, and Silver 3 goes down. LGD primed to take this fight if they can survive through the Graviton Surge, which it looks like they might not be able to because Mija's Meteor Strike finds so much damage. T1W able to just narrowly hold. What a play from High-B to get everyone sucked in combination with the Meteor Strike.
But all of this time went over to the 99% of the overtime clock now. 56, or about 60% now for T1W's in control, and they had to use their Slam Jam combo, so no Graviton online for them. Wanli can build this EMP before Molaran. He has been outpacing him so far, and they're about to have a Nano Boost on the Tangshu, who has the Earth Shatter. T1W only have a Sound Barrier and Nano Boost for themselves to fight back against. The Nano Boost will probably have to go over to Silver 3, though they want it to go over to Mijia to give more backline pressure.
Yeah.
It's becoming very difficult for T1W to hold on to this point.
You gotta be careful. Wanli, like we mentioned, become very good at this Sombra, and well, with Mijia down first, now you have to think that LGD are primed to just dive on in and try to force the contest on 6v5 terms. Tanshu does get slept for a small moment and also hacks. A little bit of disruption here will at least delay him from hitting the Earthshatter, but again, the focus fire is looking good, as once again, Hy-Vee and Silver 3 are the big two targets. Tanshu again is slapping through while being boosted up, looking for one more big crucial hit before maybe dropping the Earthshatter into play. T1W have to be very careful how they use the sound barrier. They do end up countering out the EMP, but they take down Hy-Vee. LGD with numbers, even though they do lose their Brigitte player. I don't know if anyone can touch, but here comes Mija. Heurix again, Silver 3 with a big charge, and once again, T1W able to flip things around. 98% back and forth goes the kill feed, but it looks like the numbers will be sustained for T1W. It was close, but we will see it go 100-99 favoring T1W on the first environment here on Lijiang Tower.
Really well played from both of these Lucios. This was incredible. Hoyoshan was able to hide away and was able to counter sound barrier, the EMP that came through, but the positional advantage only came through for T1W, and Silver 3 able to take that and run with it, quite literally had enough shield pressure. Tangshu already had the Earthshatter, so with that nano boost, didn't find as much value that LGD were looking for.
Yeah.
Just how close these two teams are up against each other when the EMPs are coming down. It's not really being the definitive factor that you'll see in, say, other regions of Contenders. They're having a hard time finishing off their plates for dinner, especially from Molaran. Every time that they end up coming through, Secret was right there with the biotic grenade, sleep darts, everything just to shut down Molaran in the back end. T1W, though, they're taking a very interesting take on this composition, keeping the Sombra and the Doomfist. This is the one thing that we talked about. You have to force Mija off the Doomfist. He will find a lot of value and will find backline picks. But LGD Gaming, they're trying to take their own twist of it. They put Secret back over to the Zenyatta, but Wanli's on the Mei.
Yeah, a little bit of snow goats. Rien able to find the first kill onto Secret, which will tilt things very vastly in favor of T1W. Wanli also not quite able to get out with their life and looking for just maybe a little bit of chase, but thinking the better of it. But Hy-Vee at 80% charge already on that particle cannon. Huge damage coming out of him, but interesting take. Again, T1W taking a little bit of a risk here. We don't traditionally see this much damage coming out for the side of Control Center. Typically, you see Snoats or just their traditional 3-3. Wanli will swap back over to the Sombra, though, to make things a little bit more even keel as far as the hacks.
Yeah, you almost have to go back to Night Market, and you should have just walked out with this if you're LGD Gaming, because now you're at a deficit. You have to get your ultimates back. You might get the flip here, but T1W, they have the ultimate economy. They're just waiting for the time to go in. Here comes the uppercut.
Oh, but he does get hacked, so Mija does fall first. Good target prioritization coming out of Wanli. Looking for a way to burn down one of these frontliners now. 60% charged on the particle beam for Rookie. Able to find a little flank here for a lot of confirmed damage, actually. But we'll be able to back up. Silver 3 does go down. So this is actually a very valuable fight for LGD. Not only do they flip the point at a reasonable percentage, but they also build up a lot of ultimates for themselves.
Yeah, you'll actually notice one thing specifically. The way that Illusion has to play with that composition of T1W, you see Silver 3 now swapping over to the Reinhardt, go for a more stand-up. Actually able to build up the sound barrier before Illusion, even after winning that first fight. That is actually massive. And Wanli as well, able to get back on board. This is how much pressure they were able to lay down, and so has Rookie. The ultimate economy has been set back to even. The only thing T1W has on top of their opposing members is that nano boost.
EMP coming out in combination of the nano boost and now actually using the graviton surge as well as T1W, but having a little bit of issues cleaning up the fights as it is an even 4-on-4 coming through. But Rookie, he's actually good enough charge to take down his counterpart in Hy-Vee, and that looks like that might just be enough to clean things through for them. So look at this, LGD able to battle back very nicely.
Yeah, and it was a fantastic sleep dart from Secret. Mija was not available to do the Slam Jam combo with the Meteor Strike into the Graviton Surge, so now the sustain, this poke war is definitely going to go in the favor for LGD Gaming. They have the resources to keep themselves sustained on the point. T1W are just sitting here in a poke phase, and they're losing it emphatically. Wanli has the EMP along with a nano boost that will probably go over to Tangshu here after the Earthshatter has been committed. Finds a translocator. Mija is hanging out on the top part. She's going to be looking for an elbow off the top rope.
Wanli down.
He just gets out.
That's terrible. Now T1W can use the sound barrier if they really want to, just to get aggressive, but we'll see what kind of damage we can find from Mija's hands first, quite literally, as he does jump on in, able to boost him up. Nano does come in to Tanshu, so it might be enough for them to at least put some extra presence on the point for LGD. They have an Earthshatter, but hacked again. Tanshu instantly melted. Really good timing from Rien to come around the side to make sure Tanshu can't get his ultimate off. And T1W, they're looking primed to retake this point. 88%, but still counting for LGD, doing what they can to try to get that percentage as high as possible, but it'll just start, stop just short of 90%.
You're happy to lose that fight if you're LGD Gaming, though. T1W, although not using any ultimates themselves, LGD Gaming can start building up their ultimate economy. If you take a look at the control percentages, they're at 90%. Winning one more fight will definitely give them the point here, but it's a high-risk, high-reward, right? Because T1W haven't been using any ultimates either. They're building their ultimate economy. Molrun has the EMP available, and they have both their support ultimates. LGD Gaming need to play this very methodically. They're chasing down Mijia, but that is an easier task said than done. And Doomfist, a very slippery individual, can definitely traverse through this server area very quickly, getting up and down on the high ground.
Well, he can also slam right back in. Here comes a little bit of a start here, though, for LGD as they drop in the Graviton Surge, but all the kills are turning up in favor of T1W. The boost right in counter into Silver 3. He was able to find so much confirmed damage, even while sucked into that Graviton Surge. And it looks like T1W, with the numbers now, just have to zone away. They still have a couple of ultimates to utilize, including the Sound Barrier, plus also the Meteor Strike, and be careful, because Ivy has almost got that Graviton Surge, potentially lock players in. Tanshu has to make a heroic play, overtime in effect. Here comes the hack on top, though. T1W is getting melted. Silver goes down. Ivy, who was able to get his Graviton Surge, gets hacked immediately after, so all of a sudden LGD are primed to retake just off of taking down Silver 3. Ivy will also fall, and now numbers and the flip. LGD still very much so in this, but goodness gracious, Mijia does not know when to quit as he dives right back in again with Illusion, and they combine for 2, so they're still trying to fight this one back as much as possible. Tanshu needs to stay alive, is trying to get focus fired up, and now he will get nano boosted, looking to slap against Silver 3, who again is falling very dangerously low, and now an Earth Shatter. LGD looking to clean up this point and tie us up 1-1. They need to focus down the hamster. He's trying to roll out, but he falls out. Mijia, not sure how he fell there, but he also drops away. Rookie with the last Graviton Surge just to clean things up. And LGD will narrowly hold down another 100 to 99. We go to map set 3.
You know, although you don't get as much sound barrier charge because of healing, the one thing I really respect out of Illusion is that he's taken on a mantra of Doomfist Jr., right? And he's able to go back there and able to just force his way with Mijia as well. And take a look at the final moments of this fight too. There's a really good nano boost. This is what we missed over from Night Market as well. The nano boost from Secret over to Tangshu, able to build up another Earth Shatter very quickly, really control the front line of Silver 3, and it sets the pace of an even matchup going over to Gardens. But this is even more of a literal playground for a Doomfist player like Mijia and a Sombra like Molrun, able to really utilize all these flanks. Can really contest that high ground over on what we call the White Room over on the left side of your screen now with the mini pack. Wan Li now over to the McCree, a little bit more lockdown. Join Kaneki, can really lock down Silver 3 and Mijia in place, but without a Sombra, this looks a little iffy, but we know Chinese contenders, we know this region, they love their Super McCree comp.
We'll see what happens. Wan Li is not a hero that we've seen him play a lot, but he is very capable of the hit scan. So we'll see if he can find some success here, like you mentioned, looking for that extra bit of lockdown into Silver 3. They anticipate this, but Silver's so low. He will get taken down. Tanshu jumping forward to make sure he can confirm him with the Tesla cannon. And that will be essentially a free opening for LGD to get the point of their favor first.
Yeah, and what's really nice about this composition too, sure, you give up the hack, but what you do have is a second stun, right? So if you use the shield bash from Kaneki on to the hamster, then you have the flashbang available for either Mijia or the Doomfist. Sleep dart over to Mijia too. There's another chain of CC as well. Heidi over to the soldier. They don't have a diva again, so these biotic grenades are going to find continuously some amounts of pressure, but the biotic grenade wasn't available, so Secret goes down.
That's awful. Biotic grenade, like you mentioned, was good to start things off, but not there to keep Secret alive. So now T1W feeling that they can fight this one back and not having to use any ultimates to do it. Well, easy clicks, easy kills for Hybe as he's able to just lock everybody down. He's got a tactical visor ready to go with the boost from Muya. So T1W primed to put out a ton of damage in our next fight. Yeah,
T1W are doing a really good job of just playing together, though they're playing a very spacious triple DPS composition around the solo tank. Silver 3 is just going in there. He's eating literally every single cooldown, it seems, from LGD Gaming. And then T1W are able to turn the fight as well, including that biotic grenade. It just shows really good communication in the openings that T1W has in front of them. And they have the EMP. I know tactical visor doesn't do all the damage in the world, but when you add that nano boost, it can definitely lay in a lot of damage.
Looking to see how this one will start off. Rookie already very low, boosted immediately afterwards. It is going to be Tanshu, but Hiak coming out right as it was high noon. Tanshu able to stay alive again, like you mentioned, from this sound barrier, but here comes the tactical visor, and Hybe is looking to put a lot of damage there, but he's only finding the Primal Rage plus shields. Finally, he'll get a Heurix rocket to connect with Kaneki as T1W look primed to survive through this one on the back end of a sound barrier of their own. Meteor Strike coming just to clean things up for Mija's sake. He'll dive right in the back line to make sure nobody can get away. Well, that was the attempt, but He does get booped just slightly as he was landing. T1W will still hold 55% and counting.
Every single ultimate got used in that last fight, both from both teams. We saw a good total of 12 ultimates. That is insane, and it'll still go over to T1W just because of the mobility, the sustain that this composition has. Waya is feeling little to no pressure because the peel is there. Silver 3, Hy-Vee, and Mija doing a good job. This is what Soldier 76 actually brings to the battle, is that you're able to throw down that healing field, and you're able to actually keep along with your backline. And really well played from T1W. Again, LGD Gaming, they need to play this methodically. They have to wait for their openings. The dive comes through.
Hy-Vee, though, again, trying to work towards another tactical visor. Has to kind of back away. Nice little return, just a little 180 pull into Tanshu, who was low and purple. Eren has an EMP, will drop it forward. Only finds 2 players, though. Rookie able to clean up things, and again, just so much damage disruption coming out of the defense matrix from Rookie while he was getting into the face. Even though Tanshu was low and not really in that fight, LGD still able to find a way to break the point open.
Yeah, I spoke a lot about Rookie's Zarya, but his D was just as good, too, being there for the dive. And although Tangshu eats every single cooldown, going back to how Silver 3 was playing the hamster, it forces T1W into this last fight situation. So they're going to be able to rotate out through the server side. They actually end up going over to a full 3-3. Mija has swapped off of the onto the Zarya, rather. You're going to try to build this Graviton Surge, but time is not in their favor, and the ultimates aren't either.
Tanshu, though, he does get nano boosted, looking to open things up. He will be shredding and cutting all that cleave damage with the Tesla cannon, but he hasn't been able to find enough significant damage to convert onto anybody, at least as of yet. Looking to isolate away Mija, who does get hacked, but will very, very narrowly not get back towards his team. Here comes the EMP as well from Wan Lee, plus a sound barrier. This is everything being used for LGD, trying to clean things up. They do find Eren first, and it looks like they might have just enough damage to push on through as Tanshu, he's going to put himself in the Primal Rage. He finds himself 2 kills as well. Really well held for LGD, but again, they use essentially everything, and now actually will be everything, as there will also be a
They're going to take this map.
Once again, this is last fight territory, like you mentioned, and it's going to come down to desperate touches from T1W. I don't even know if anyone's going to get back in time. No, they don't. LGD takes the first map, and that throws all of our expectations completely up in the air. Your face says a million words. Let's start tackling some of those million words, because there is a lot to talk about from what we just previously saw.
It's like I said, time wasn't in their favor. If you wanted to swap over to the Zarya in a true 3-3 fashion, it was way too late for that. We know that Mija does not charge Graviton Surge quickly at all. His bubble timings are really poor, and that just shows just getting way too far with the aggression, and they just absolutely played themselves. That was the tempo of LGD Gaming. And I know I spoke about it in the opposite manner, that you don't want to play T1W's tempo, but they just fed themselves into LGD's hand. That's their tempo. 3-3. Really well played from LGD Gaming, able to recognize their opportunities, elongating those fights and taking their advantages.
Yeah, okay, so let's just start things off. Again, we saw 299s. LGD, we knew that they were going to have to come out and play an aggressive mind style to try to make sure that the DPS-centric composition does not get going. And, well, they did a pretty decent job throughout both the first map sets, but I want to hit you just, again, with what are we expecting for the future of T1W? Because, again, we're sitting here and doing what? It's essentially Control Center with a DPS comp. We rarely see that. It doesn't really pay off for them all that well. Is this too froofy, I guess is the way to say it, for T1W?
Well, as we take a look at some of these replays, you'll see where they had the shining spots, right? Because even when they were forcing these DPS compositions, this is where it came down to, is slowing up the tempo and not being able to come up on a lot of the damage that was available to them inside their composition. And it's all because of that right there. Wanli, EMP, this Primal Rage was absolutely massive. And it's just when these big game-ending ultimates come around for LGD Gaming, they always end up finding a way, right? Because Illusion is always playing that aggressive Lucio. They never end up having the sound barrier as much as their opposing member of LGD Gaming. So when you put yourself in that situation, you don't have this Yana as a second defensive ultimate. You're not really setting yourself up for success in fighting in the midway fight with that composition. You need to rely on getting the picks, but the thing about a 3-3 versus a DPS composition, you can out-sustain them in the middle of the fight just because of what I just said. They have the triple support. They can end up using the rally to engage, and if they feel the pressure, they can end up pulling off of the sound barrier and disengage timely. We're seeing a high-level Lucio play from LGD Gaming and able to recontest perfectly.
Well, we'll see what happens. T1W might have to go back to the drawing board here. We'll be back with map 2 just after this. Already welcome back LGD, able to find what I think a lot of people would say is a surprising first map on Control, one that favored the side of T1W very vastly coming into this matchup. But again, LGD has been that team that surprised us throughout the entirety of the season. Very appropriate here, Panda, that they're able to do it in the semifinals for a spot, not only in the grand finals, but also for the Pacific Showdown.
I will say this. T1W, LGD Gaming, to echo myself during the pre-show, they have a way of showing up in the playoffs too. But it's an accentuated factor that T1W, they're high in mechanics, they're low in the macro, and they're going to be able to play a composition that favors just that as well. Mija onto the Hanzo with dive tanks, Molaran in the sky with Illusion on the Pharmacy, getting the boop off on a tank shoe. It's a really good opening as LGD Gaming are on the 3-2-1 Sombra again.
Okay, we'll see what happens with Eren here as he is trying to do his damage as much as possible, but having a tough time essentially finding it as he does get hacked for a small time. But Tonshu very, very low. Rookie also very low. Both of them will be boosted up almost instantly back to full HP. So if you're LGD, you need to find a way to recontest, but Rookie goes down. And well, that might just be all that was needed for T1W to hold forward. Mija able to find Wanli as well, and it's just all clean up. First and very easy push here on the checkpoint A.
Yep. You know what's most important too with T1W's composition is just how effective Molaran is on all of these flexible DPSs as well. Able to kind of disjoint LGD Gaming, and that's the thing about 3-3, right? You got to be playing together. You got to be gaining full value out of everybody as well. Laying in rockets into the backline. You see Secret finding a little less value onto that Ana. It's just a lot of oppression that T1W has on this composition. You're not getting rained by rockets. You're probably in the sideline of Misha, and if you're not in any of those, you're probably being dove by Hy-B and Silver 3. So T1W able to set themselves up on the checkpoint. LGD Gaming got the far spawn, so they can't take an aggressive hold onto the archway here. They have to play methodical, so they're playing around on this high ground, looking for their opportunity just to try to get some pressure onto Molaran here. They're actually rotating all the way down to the upper apartment area, so this is going to be able to give them a flip here, but they're still on the point. The point's still going. Molaran has the barrage available. This is looking very dangerous.
This has to work immediately for LGD. Otherwise, if T1W gets a chance to respond to this, it might just be all cookie crumbles coming forward, but we'll see. Molaran, like you mentioned, has the barrage, waiting to look for an opportunity to pull it out right over the top. Here comes the Dragon Strike, and immediately the barrage is in combination. It's able to find both frontliners as he was boosted, and in the meantime of it, T1W looking much cleaner here on King's Row than they were previously on Lijiang.
Yep, and again, this is their tempo, right? You're going to be able to play a massive oppression composition, high bursting damage too. LGD Gaming, though, they want to play this slow, methodical style. And it might end up going in their favor again. They have more mid-fight sustained, but T1W has the ultimates to combat and back against. Able to go back in there with the Primal Rage and able to clean back up. But again, Defender's advantage, they have the spawn room. It's kind of even where the payload is at here, Shift, but LGD Gaming, again, the longer the fights last, it's going to go in their favor. They're able to keep most of their ultimates available, especially with the nano boost into the Graviton Surge of Rookie. They swapped over to a full 3-3. They needed that damage mitigation with the defense matrix of Wanli, but that nano boost on to Tangshu inside that Graviton Surge, because T1W, they don't have any defensive ultimates, it's going to be more than enough. You probably don't even need the nano boost as well, as they take a full swap themselves. They're on 3-3, and this is what we talked about, and was their demise on Control as well, Shift. They swap over to 3-3. Now they're playing in LGD's field. This is their tempo now.
Yeah, LGD finding a lot of value out of what seemed to be a very unexpected fight for T1W, and you mentioned it. They had to use a lot just to try to sustain through it, and now they'll swap like you mentioned. So with 3 minutes, 15 seconds left on this push, a lot of things favoring LGD. Hoyo-chan looking for a boop off the high ground for this spot for T1W. He's able to at least take down Silver 3 from that high ground, which is totally valuable. Rookie looking for an opportunity to potentially drop open this Graviton Surge as well. That might be all they need, like you said. Without any support ultimates being here, you think Rookie needs to drop this sooner rather than later. He's taking so long making a decision, though, as no one's falling. Not much damage being confirmed. Finally, he'll pin people into a corner. But again, where's the damage follow-up? Finally, Silver 3 goes down, and because of that, there's no shield to block the self-destruct sequence. Now you're just going to boost up Tonshu, and it's a full team wipe coming through for LGD.
Yeah, they win that fight effectively just off the nano boost and the Graviton Surge, like I had mentioned, and they set themselves up wonderfully, even though they had to invest in self-destruct. Maybe a minor commitment there. T1W, though, they will have the nano boost or the Transcendence. They can use that very aggressively walking into this fight and set themselves up, maybe even get the Graviton Surge or Earth Shatter in the middle of the fight, set up for a nice combo with Hy-B self-destruct. But LGD Gaming, they do have their defensive ultimate available. They can actually aggress here very early with their own rally. They're playing incredibly split, though. Rally comes out from Kaneki, and you know, T1W, they're still going to try to pick this engagement. No, they're just going to play it out. Just going to wait it out a little bit.
T1W just looking for a way to just try to get this payload moving again. Again, that 3-minute plus time bank is now down to under 2 minutes. Tanshu looking to get aggressive. He does have an Earth Shatter to potentially utilize in this fight. Molinran, will he use the rally and commit it for this potential push? And T1W finding at least some pushback here against what has been a very stalwart defense so far in this final corner. Here comes the rally into place. Again, still holding on to a Transcendence. Tanshu looking to find a way to slap through. His shield nearly broken. We'll try to drop the Shatter, but does not find much. So now T1W looking to counter back with one of their own. Able to find a lot on the back end of it, but unfortunately not able to find Hoyo-chan, who keeps everybody alive with the sound barrier. Wanli does go down. Molinran also traded away Hy-Vee with the self-destruct sequence. Not going to find anything, but William's able to put himself into a Transcendence, which will hopefully be enough sustain to allow T1W to push through this last bit of a fight to finish off and get through the second checkpoint. And it looks like they do still have the numbers, but not finding the full little bit of space they need to convert it. With Silver 3 going down, LGD are back with 6 players, and they're going to be able to thwart this back under 60 seconds going for T1W if they want to find this map extension.
Yeah, even after using all 3 tank ultimates from T1W. And they're going to be able to set themselves up, at least have an Earth Shatter in this last fight here. 40 seconds rounding about here on the clock. We'll probably round about to about 30 when this last fight ensues. LGD Gaming are building their ultimates so much faster. Kaneki especially getting that rally towards the end of that fight for the sustain was very impressive. But Rookie getting a little bit too far forward.
We'll take a look here. Again, Wuya trying to do what he can to keep everybody alive. Rookie does get taken down. Micha able to find himself a second as Hoyo-chan also falls. Wanli will get taken out of back. So now it looks like it's just up to T1W. Make sure you find the target prioritization, and you should be good to get this second checkpoint. But it comes at a very steep time bank cost, as they're still not quite there yet. But it looks like they will be able to hit it just before overtime comes through. So they'll add a significant time. Just a minute and, well, just under 40 seconds for them to finish this off. And again, they do have a lot of ultimate, but LGD still have an Earth Shatter as well as a Nano Boost. And that's been really the crutch of a lot of their team fight wins so far, has been on the back end of a Nano Boost. They're looking to repeat that same performance here.
Although Mija doesn't have all the charge in the world, is able to build this Graviton Surge up. They have a 5-pack of ultimates, darn near 6. They're using a they will probably use a rally just to engage very timely here. Get aggressive.
Mija, again, looking for an opportunity to potentially drop open this Graviton Surge, but Tanshu gets taken down first. This means the self-destruct sequence in the back line is good! Hy-Vee finds 3 at T1W, even though the second stage did not look so great for them. So far, things are going very nicely, as not only are they able to find nearly a full clean wipe, but Mija also still has that Graviton Surge, and they can sustain through this with essentially both support ultimates coming up very, very shortly. Kameki will immediately open things up with the rally, but Mija has already dropped into a Graviton Surge, which does keep LGD separated. Tanshu with an Earth Shatter, self-destruct sequence overhead, finds Silver 3. Wuya not quite able to keep him alive with the Transcendence, which means there's no more resources in the ultimate department for T1W and LGD. They'll find the first pushback just over 20 seconds to try to finish this map for T1W.
They are going to be staggering into this last fight shift. It is less than 20 seconds, less than ideal for T1W to fight their way into this as well. Gonna get a replay from that Earth Shatter that ended up getting a 3K to set up this last fight scenario, but as the Graviton comes through from LGD Gaming, they are setting themselves up wonderfully.
Well, there's still a fight going on here, though, as we will be jumping right back in very quickly. Both sound barriers have been utilized. It just comes down to who can sustain the most, as Hoyo-chan's will fade away first, but Silver 3 goes down. A big biotic grenade came through for Secret. He's found so many throughout the day. One more big one here to potentially close out a defense, as they have the numbers. Hy-Vee very low. Will be trying to be taken down. One more desperate Graviton Surge coming into place from Egypt, but there's not enough damage to follow up behind it. Tanshu does take it down, though. So all of a sudden, T1W with the potential to come back through, as they have made the desperate swap over to the Wrecking Ball.
That's a lot of charge.
Just finding a lot of damage. Self-destruct sequences coming down, but not able to find anything. LGD is in shambles. T1W just fought back a 4v6, and with the desperate swap from Silver 3, they're back with full numbers. It just comes down to cleaning things up, and it looks like they will be able to do it. What another desperate turnaround for T1W without the numbers. Panda, are you kidding me?
It just comes down to, although Mijid isn't a stellar Zarya player, but you let any Zarya go unchecked with that much charge, yeah, it's going to layer in, and it's going to pull out a lot of resources of your team too, defending any sort of point. But what matters most is that there's no time on the clock. So LGD, they have their win conditions set in front of them, and this is how we're going to end up seeing them play this matchup continuously. And trying to find their win conditions, you already did the step 1 by forcing T1W to play your tempo in 3-3. now exhausting the time bank onto the hybrid map, and end up forcing their way into a last tick gain scenario onto the initial capture point. They just have to complete the map first with time.
This is insane. Again, T1W is showing these signs of they're the better team. If they're winning 4v6s time and time again off of really the beginning of the fights have not been ultimate economy in their favor. LGD just missing out a little bit. Secret, though, I have to give him just a little bit of a nod because these biotic grenades, we didn't really mention them much in Lijiang Tower, but they were big then and they're becoming even bigger now as we see him able to find a lot of clutch positioning with it against T1W, who just do not have they're not able to really respond to it besides committing things like a sound barrier when they don't want to.
Yeah, and that's probably the most important reason why they ended up going over to the 3-3. They need the cleanse from the Zarya. They need the mitigation from the defense matrix of D.Va. Just, again, LGD Gaming recognizing and taking that first. And with Secret sticking on the Ana, once you start getting rolling and you don't find the pressure into the backline, Secret's able to just basically farm for free and lay down a lot of damage. Ana's very lethal. When you find those purple grenades, it controls the front line for your tanks, and it just allows Tangshu just to cleave his way forward. LGD Gaming now on the attack. Back to 3-2-1 Sombra. Wanli will be reprising this role. T1W, though, you can see them shook. They do have the Ana because they probably know that they'll be running out without a D.Va. LGD Gaming won't, but they still have a concept of 3 tanks.
Wanli doing a really good job of forcing T1W to make a move. A really clutch projected barricade there from Rookie as he's able to at least keep Wanli alive long enough to get the translocator out. Still no progress being made, but LGD has taken the high ground. Very powerful position for them to commit when they feel the opportunity is right. Mija not dealing with very much when it comes down to charge, but will at least find the translocator of Wanli, so he'll be waiting for a small cooldown for just a moment. LGD, again, looking for an opportunity to move on in. At some point, you have to make a call. They're not really farming much ultimate charge. Tanshu will finally go to the lower ground to just put his feet on the point. Slept for a small moment. Is Silver 3 trying to follow up on that, but he will be given the repair pack, so he'll be fine for now, even though he is hacked shortly after as well. The small advantages here and there as both teams are looking for a hole to dive through, and that might just be it. Wanli very, very low. Secret has to deal with a lot of low targets on his team just to keep them alive, but everything's said and done, and it will be a little bit of a mitigation from both squads as they'll kind of just retreat back to their corners and continue just beating up each other before somebody falls.
It's very interesting. Poke phase does, in fact, have the defenders in a very unwarranted position. The biotic grenade's going to come down on a high B, so T1W have to disengage, but LGD Gaming are winning this poke war. They have the EMP.
Oh, and it finds 4 plus a stun afterwards. Silver 3 is going to be immediately taken down. High B out of mech. And at that point, now it's a 6v4 that I don't see T1W pulling back this time. LGD will surely capture point A off of the EMP Earthshatter combination. Well, efficiency, it took them a little bit longer than T1W did, but at least they still broke on their first attempt, so plenty of time to play with here in stage 2.
Yep, and being able to set up this attack phase of the streets. Kings Row, pretty well. They have the Graviton Surge. They can engage very aggressively with the rally, and we've seen their win condition set with the Graviton Surge. But scrap that. You see T1W up in the apartment area. They're just trying to collapse the Graviton Surge.
Oh, but boosted up as well as Tanshu. But Mija is the first one to find another elimination. And, well, again, you saw the sound barrier come through just as soon as the purple hit from the biotic grenade of Secret. Then that's going to do it. T1W will find a very early defense, and now a lot of pressure being put on the spawn of LGD. And again, T1W still have ultimates to potentially spend if they want to delay this even longer.
Tip your hat to the old selfless team, able to spawn camp just for a little bit longer here. They do have a support ultimate, and they can end up throwing the self-destruct to keep themselves here for a little while longer, but you don't want to be here for too long. LGD Gaming, they still have the Earthshatter. They can engage very aggressively with the rally. They have a lot to sustain themselves too, so T1W, they're going to find themselves down in the resource management and even economy too for shields as well. It's just very dangerous for T1W to be standing around here for this long.
Big moments here for Mija as well, who obviously was able to retain his charge. So you're looking for him to get his ultimate before Rookie, but Rookie's actually doing a really good job of getting high charge himself and finding a lot of confirmed damage. Here comes the rally for both teams. Nearly synchronized. Self-destruct sequence overhead. Wanli has to be forced back, but Secret falls, and that might just be enough for them to disengage. But no, actually T1W says that might not be it for the fight as Wanli comes through with an EMP, but able to utilize enough for T1W to stay alive through it. The Transcendence was there. Silver 3 finds connecting. Tanshu very, very low, will be taken down, and T1W will sustain the defensive position that they found off of their first engagement here as well.
Yeah, this is dangerous. T1W, though, they are able to turn it back in their favor, getting the ultimates out of LGD Gaming. When they think that the fight is theirs, T1W are able to turn it back with a few in a series of ultimates and set themselves up for the next few fights. That being with the Earth Shatter and the Graviton Surge walking in here for a second camp available, going up to the apartments, though. LGD Gaming trying to recycle a different manner and perspective onto this fight with the cart now behind them. They have their own Graviton Surge they can fight with. Good Sleep Dart, though.
Comes down to Rookie. He's got to be big with this Graviton Surge. You mentioned it, not much else left. Silver 3 does get slept for a small moment. Here comes both Graviton Surges, locking both teams essentially in place, but 3 to move about is Mija, and he is able to help find 1 bit of damage to confirm Kaneki. Tanshu is given the nano boost, but he can't fight with it because he was so low and also focused down. T1W once again fighting back strong here on King's Row.
Yeah, they're looking pretty darn good at that too. Everything that we have said about their 3-3, you can go ahead and scrap that. This is a different level of play that we're seeing out of T1W and what you expect out of a team if they want to be making it to the showdown as well. And with that in the hat, you can just see all of their ultimates being used very sparingly. They were able to hold on to a series of ultimates as well for this next fight, using the rally defensively very aggressively. They can push forward with the Earth Shatter.
Just looking for a way to connect. They do actually able to find Rookie on his back, but he's able to stay not only alive, but at full charge. Tanshu tries to respond with an Earth Shatter of his own, but not quite able to find any value with it. Silver 3 still taking down Low Wolf, catch himself a repair pack to keep him in the fight. And again, he'll charge on in as the Transcendence is about to fade away, but it doesn't look like there's enough damage for T1W to come through. So now Hoyo-chan with the sound barrier will be used for LGD to push forward, but a nice little distractive play coming out of High B to put the self-destruct sequence up. That might be enough to at least peel away enough. And 6-on-5 coming into the mix and just charging through with Silver 3. He'll surely fall, and it looks like finally LGD will get this payload moving in a forward motion.
Ooh, yeah, but a lot of times it's been exhausted, and that is a very scary place to be for LGD Gaming. They have themselves one last fight, but so is T1W to hold them back in at bay. This is a very, very troublesome time as T1W, again, that wonderful ultimate economy that they're able to play around with this time around, will be able to whack back in here with 2 game-ending ultimates. They're about to have Rally as well, Shift, and that could be the game-ending deciding factor for T1W. LGD Gaming, they have to win out this poke phase, though they do have the Transcendence available. They can't sustain themselves for the mid-fight. LGD Gaming, they're looking very scared here. They're playing back. Tanshu goes down.
Tanshu gets taken down. The Transcendence was forced so early. It's on Rookie. What can he make happen? But no, Rookie's grab gets eaten by High B. T1W can now freely push forward. Tanshu not being here means there's no Earth Shatter yet, and by the time he returns, just about all of his comrades will have fallen to the dust. And well, it's just on to Molenrand. Can he do anything? No, sure doesn't seem like Molenrand was able to find the damage needed. Everyone else was already there. T1W take King's Row, and well, that was probably, again, not what we would have expected. I think we would have expected Lijiang Tower to go to T1W and King's Row to go to LGD, but somehow, someway, T1W looked to be the better GOATS team, while LGD was able to respond to T1W's damage-centric comps in the first map.
There was a lot of time in between the quarterfinals and semifinals, and what we saw is a swift turn for the 3-3 of T1W, and this is what they needed as well. You don't need a high-bursting Zarya, you don't need them to always be at charge, but you definitely need them to stay alive. And we're seeing good iterations coming out from T1W's 3-3, good concepts, good disengages, and this is just a team that I didn't expect to play 3-3 at this high of a level, especially against LGD Gaming, but they seem shook here. LGD Gaming can't keep their feet underneath themselves, and they can't win out these fights decisively.
That's what the fights they're going to need to bring in to essentially, again, keep things going on an even footing. Let's bring back in LaFon, though, to get some information and some of his insight, because I know that he is ready to go with a lot of notes, not only about that most recent King's Row, but Lijiang Tower was an absolutely star-studded battle as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely agree on that one, Shift. Actually, it's been super fun to watch, and I think this has been a lot closer than I expected because LGD is playing up very, very highly. One thing is, you said it, the fact that the compositions, the expectations of the scoreline was 1-1, I think, at the half, but as you said, the maps would have been flipped in my notes. I think the difference has been the fact that Wanli's Somber has been was better on the first game than it was in the second map. Like, I felt that they wasted EMP a ton. It really looked out of sorts at times, and lost a couple of fights because of that, putting LGD far behind in terms of economy. I feel like the pressure got a little bit, it seems like, to him in that situation, but ultimately what it comes down to is one of the things I wanted to highlight there is we get a quick highlight here. A nice little accidental play on words, but that's a nice sleep dart. That is a really nice sleep dart.
Really good autoplay.
Yeah, That is really the difference. One of the differences between the two maps is that the Ana Biotic Rain was actually able to be executed on more on this map than it was in the previous one. And that really does add so much to the composition, right? If you're able to actually execute and follow up on the Bionades, it really does make a difference. And that's against obviously the tank composition that was being played out. If you're playing against a DPS, it's a lot harder to go that far distance. But you know, I think what I'm seeing here is good play from T1W and their Zarya. They're actually enabling Michia, who we kind of highlighted before as being perhaps the weaker Zarya, pardon me, on this roster. They're enabling him to actually get the energy up, and he's able to stay in lockstep with LGD.
Yeah, Rookie has been, I mentioned at one point in time in King's Row where he came back into the fight off respawn at 0 charge whatsoever, and his particle cannon was able to actually overpass Mija in that instance, building up towards a Graviton Surge. But I think you hit it really nicely, and I got to get your take on this as well, Panda. We've seen a lot of instances of Ana since the most recent change here, not only in Stage 2 of the Overwatch League, but also here as well in playoffs. This is probably the best Ana play we've seen, though, out of China so far this season.
And I'm going to jump in here to take Panda. Panda's an Ana main, so he'll get the last take on this one. But I think there's
sold out.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. But the fact that D.Va isn't being played as much means that Ana is a lot more valuable, right?
Absolutely.
You can play a lot more aggressively. And for another reason, it doesn't get brought in a lot. There's actually less knockback without the D.Va, so you can use the nano boost on the Reinhardt, and he won't get knocked back nearly as easily. There is like multiple reasons why Ana actually becomes more powerful when she's played in here, right? She can hit better Bionades, there's less things to stop her sleep dart, and the nano boost becomes even more efficient compared to when D.Va's in play.
Yep, I'm a big fan of Ana play as your resident support main here. I'm not going to lie. I mean, in between Secret and Wyatt, too, I mean, I remember both these two players. There's a reason why they're very effective with Zenyatta. It all comes down to this region itself being very mechanically skilled. And when you add that into Ana and to the macro level as well, the spacing that both these Anas have available in the middle of the fight, sleep darts, biotic grenades, decision making with the nano boost over to each other's Reinhardts. I mean, this is just top level Ana play altogether too. And when there is no D.Va, that's why you're seeing T1W being forced into this style where they have to play 3-3, is because LGD are fighting way too much value when they don't have their own D.Va. And the same goes for both sides.
Well, it seems like so far all of us were correct by going into one of the maps, but like you mentioned, LaFon, maybe not so much which maps were taken. We'll see how this set progresses. We'll send things to a quick break. Be back with map number 3 just after this. Welcome back, everybody. We're taking a look at how we've gotten to where we are after the halftime. LGD able to find Lijiang Tower at the 2-1 scoreline, but T1W bouncing back and finding a hold on the second stage after a very, well, I would say a very Monka-esque moment on their offense for a while there. We'll be heading to Volskaya, though, for map number 3. Last time these two teams played, they did play the Assault here, and, well, T1W was able to full hold LGD. Again, that was essentially an eternity ago, considering where we are now. IHOLDSHIFT with Panda and, well, as we jump in here, Panda, thoughts and kind of expectations? I almost don't want to put you in the spot because we have seen a lot of wildness so far from both teams when we expected them to play something a little bit more traditional for each the control and the hybrid.
Yeah, I disagree with the decision to go to Volskaya, but is any assault map safe against T1W? I mean, like,
no,
in every single choice that they had, I mean, like, they're going to be able to play like their sort of tempo, right? So, especially with that too, it's a very risky maneuver, but we said the same thing about Lijiang Tower, and that was T1W's pick, which LGD Gaming were able to run too. Very interesting as well is that T1W decided to defend first. They're actually playing this variation of a Winston 3-3, but with Waya still on the Ana. They're probably expecting LGD Gaming to run out, which they did with the Sombra. No D.Va whatsoever. They have the choice to go back and swap, but they just power their way through.
Big pick. This corridor being re-swapped over to Illusion, who was caught out of position, and Soundwaved out of position. So now, without that support being there, LGD should have a free go call, and they will likely not be full held today, at least not as they are able to find at least one tick. Looking for the second. If they can take down Silver 3, it will surely be the full point, but he will actually just jump himself off. So a lot more success here for LGD this time around versus T1W and Volskaya.
And this is risky. Very, very risky. Wyatt was the only one able to find value outside of Mullerun. Silver 3 is swapping over to the Reinhardt now to get a little bit more brawl, knowing that Tankshu's going to be able to build this Earth Shatter here. You're going to have to be able to block it. But LGD Gaming able to get a lot of backline pressure. They're going to have this EMP very quickly. T1W nowhere near this sound barrier because Illusion got picked so quickly. LGD Gaming, they have the clear-cut advantage into this fight on second. They can snowball this.
Well, they need to wait for Wanli. That is, again, like you mentioned, the big win condition, 90% to the EMP. Keep your eye. Wuya does have himself a nano boost to try to keep people alive, maybe through it. but it's going to come down to who can find the damage first. Wanli finds an early hack on a Silver 3 who's taken low, and now Wu is actually stunned up, so now it'll just be the Earthshatter to start things forward. Won't be able to find enough. Wanli still holding onto the CMP as the Transcendence fades away for LGD, looking to break down the shield. There it comes, and he finds himself 4 with the EMP. Nija also low, and Rookie will just lock players in place. Just comes down to finding the damage. There goes Hy-Vee, and it looks like Silver 3 might be the next one down, but he's able to escape with his life, so there is potential to fight this back if you're T1W. Nija will drop open a sound barrier, or pardon me, a Graviton Surge, but does get taken down quickly as the sound barrier fades away for LGD. And well, that looks to be what should be a completion as long as LGD has the target prioritization. 2 ticks of progress through, looking for the third, and they're all coming in staggered fashion. A little bit of a conga line out of spawn for T1W, and that will be all of checkpoint B coming through. At least it should be, as one more touch comes through for Nija. There it is, LGD. Nearly record pace, able to find a very successful first attack here on Volskaya. A really good look for LGD.
It got a little scary there too, because they ended up not finding immediate value off the EMP. I was watching Mija's ult charge just get closer and closer and closer to the Graviton Surge, and I watched that Secret had to use the Transcendence to fight into that mid engagement as well. We'll highlight again, Mija's not exactly the quickest to build Graviton Surge charge. However, when you just completely just don't even look at him over on the side, and you're just so hard focused on what I guess would be the main choke as you're marching into the second point of Volskaya. And he's always going to be able to find a lot of poke with the right clicks and the spacing, and even the primary fire of the particle beam cannon on Zarya. Very high charge as well. Good bubbles coming through. The Graviton Surge ended up coming through. It only found 2. Wasn't enough. Silver 3 able to find the 2 picks. But once you're already up at 2 ticks, that's kind of a just a one fight altogether. Just no time for a soft sustainable re-engagement for T1W, and unable to set themselves up just from that one unfortunate pick that came through on point A. I mean, that was just a really good recognizing of the engagement too from LGD, and it was really their fight to lose as a whole. They had the ultimates. They were a little hesitant on their own target prioritization. They couldn't end up finishing off everybody, but it was a really good idea to not engage too far closely into the spawn room area. That's where T1W were going to be able to find a little bit more value. But again, holding off on the point, making them come to you was LGD at the T1W. Now LGD Gaming able to set themselves up with a pretty darn good look at time bank. 5 minutes, 39 seconds as they set up on the defense. This is a pretty cool rendition that we're seeing these days, especially on Assault, and a lot of different teams in particular. If you caught the Korean Contenders matchups earlier, you'll actually see a little bit more Hanzo being played, but the hack comes through. Kaneki goes down. Mija.
Well, this is looking good for T1W. I was about to sing the praises of LGD finding first blood, but how about that for Mija? Again, just roaming free on the Doomfist, finding a lot of value. Now able to take down Tanshu as well. Will rocket punch his way up to the high ground and then slam right back down again. One of China's premier Doomfists, showing exactly why here as LGD not able to handle it, and T1W will find a just as quick point A as LGD did on their offense.
Tangshu doesn't have any reason to swap over to the Reinhardt, not quite yet. T1W don't have their own, so they're going to be able to at least fight this off with a soft dive on the defense. Wanli found little to no value onto Sombra as well. Hy-Vee, we have to talk about this. Attacking with the Baptiste gives a lot of mid-fight sustain with the Immortality field. It shifts the focus of LGD Gaming as a whole. You cannot focus on the hero at that point. You have to kill, I guess, what's called either the lamp, whatever you want to call it. It's the Immortality field, darn it. But LGD Gaming able to set themselves up in the middle of the fight too. They have a nano boost available. T1W Molaron throws down the EMP.
It does find 3, and most importantly, it finds Secret, who is holding onto a nano boost. Mija able to take down LGD Rookie. That might be enough for them to find the numbers advantage. Trying to fight back as LGD. They nano boost in Kaneki of all people, just to try to find a little bit of extra sustained damage from him, but well, that'll fade away with not much consequence to T1W as they have soft reset. Mija does get taken down. Wanli being very distracting on the Sombra. Still holding on to an EMP as well. So even if another commit does come in for T1W, they can hack everybody in place, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case as Eren gets taken down and T1W will full reset.
I have to wonder if T1W is still going to try to re-engage with this this composition. I mean, they have the minefield, sure, but they throw out EMP and Amplification Matrix to no avail. Yeah, there goes Hy-Vee, switching over to the Brigitte, making this composition make a little bit more sense. They're still lacking 1 tank, sure, but yeah, it's still very interesting, right? Because you take a look at who's playing the Brigitte. It's Hy-Vee, who normally plays the Diva, so T1W, they're going to have to scrap this fight and they're going to have to find value in it immediately. They do have 1 tick on the board, but time bank already in the favor of LGD Gaming. They do have a series of ultimates to play with. Again, that minefield could be very big, but LGD Gaming, they have their own EMP, and that could shut down T1W at the door before they even get an ultimate off.
Well, we'll take a look to see how aggressive LGD want to play, or will they just react with the EMP? Here comes Wanli, Translocator up. Will hit it, but it only actually hits 3, but unfortunately it does not catch Illusion, who was able to get the sound barrier off first. So T1W looking to sustain through it, but also re-engage on their own terms. Minefield will open things up as they will dive on in. Mija again looking for a target. Charges up the rocket punch, but not able to find anybody. Still has a meteor strike as well, but meanwhile, on the point, Molenran has fallen. So 5-on-5 action, Tanshu put into the primal rage, and Mija is trying to do everything he can to delay this support line from getting any extra healing off, but he's not able to find the kill potential. So LGD with the close proximity respawns are able to come back as the full 6. Secret does eventually get focus fired down. Wanli does get mini stunned, able to translocate away. The T1W again having to deal with all of this pressure. Mija is going absolutely bananas and able to find himself 3. T1W make that a 4th. Oh my goodness, this is what we've missed throughout the entirety of this last season, is Mija on Doomfist. We have spoken into existence at the beginning of the season as far as would he be able to perform on a traditional 3-3 in a GOATS composition-centric meta. Well, now that he's got the freedom to play Doomfist, he's just going back and doing Mija things.
Yeah, you can go ahead and just scrap that entire first round and just get a full map reset. I mean, sure. Because LGD did have the time bank advantage, they will be defending first, again, where you're going to have T1W recycling their next attack. I'm going to have to wonder and see how LGD Gaming are going to end up taking their adaptations onto this first defense. Probably no Hanzo, I can only imagine this time around didn't find any value. Actually got biotic grenaded and blasted out of existence into that first fight too. A lot of quick and early picks, not setting up teams for success on the second point. But because of the nature of the composition that T1W were running actually gave a little bit more time into the advantage of LGD because of the composition that they had, able to play around their supports very well and to exhaust a little bit more time that could come back to bite T1W in the rear here. We'll have to see momentarily as we get ready for extra rounds. But one thing is for certain. Mija is hard focusing the Ana of LGD, and you need to be aware of this. It needs to be a lot, if not, you can't necessarily say that you need more peel, you need more, sustain for your Ana player, for your flex support, but what you more or less need is you need to play for the bait. It's the same thing when you're facing against a Winston 3-3. It's the same thing that works when you're facing a Doomfist. You know they're going to be coming back there. They're going to be looking for Secret, and they're going to be able to try to find any sort of picks and any sort of damage with that rocket punch. And you need to be ready to shut that down, either with Kaneki's shield bash or just be readily available to hack him. Rookie, Molenran was going right on the outside. Rookie just catches him off guard.
That's so big for T1W. Now they can push forward very low, though, for a second. It is Silver 3. He does catch an Immortality field, but he's purple through all of the healing that's coming out from Hy-B, so he will have to back all the way up. So for as much success as they're able to find on the early pick, they get stalled themselves. So let's just go ahead and cancel both of those points and just restart like nothing ever happened, as we will be dealing with 6v6 once again. And yeah, I think you hit it on the head. Kaneki needs to be able to find a way to shut down Mija. Maybe needed to play a little bit closer towards Secret and essentially be babysitting and holding hands. We'll see how this goes. Molenran down very low again, getting sniffed out so routinely in the back end of all of this fighting. LGD has to be forced to move to the low ground and contest, and it will actually be Silver 3 again. Biotic grenade, the Immortality is filled down again, and it serves so much of a purpose, allowing Silver 3 to live through what it was another good Biotic grenade. Really smart play from Hy-B with the Frisbee play, and he's looking really solid so far, but LGD still have to fight back. T1W still 6v6 action. Ultimate's ready to go. Looking for Molenran to potentially hit the EMP. There it is. It finds 4, but it misses Secret, who's able to get not only the nano boost away, but it doesn't hit the target I don't think he wanted. As Secret falls, Tanshu falls, all of LGD there get dismantled, and T1W will surely be able to find the first point off of that attack.
Amplification Matrix, EMP also came through. T1W able to use their big blasting ultimates to force their way through. Mija's working away to this Meteor Strike as well. It could be a minor bit of a snowball setting up, but Silver 3 onto this Hamster, I'm still worried for. Is a very slow charging minefield, but still able to eat a lot of the cooldowns from LGD Gaming, and that's why T1W's flankers of Mija and Molenran are able to find a lot of pressure. Hy-B onto the Brigitte, we're not going to try to force any sort of Doomfist here as well. T1W, Molenran, he's out here. Both Sombras just brushing shoulders. It's a little bit of a game here. Yeah, little do they know. They're both looking.
Spy.
Yeah, they're both looking for the critical information here, but Molenran just looking for a little bit of more ult charge. Wanli has the EMP available. This is dangerous.
Does get shield bash, but Molenran just barely able to translocate away. Keep an eye on Mija again. He's been such a power pick on this Doomfist. Will charge up a rocket punch, but not find what he wants. Looking for a way to dive on an EMP. Comes through. It does find 3. Wuya, though, not affected by it, so Transcendence comes through. 1-for-1 pick. 5-on-5 action. As Silver 3 might be able to put down the minefield to turn this fight around, but there are so many low health pools for T1W. It looks like they're just going to back out up, but Tanchu doesn't want to let that happen as he hits the Primal Rage and is trying to keep everyone separated for as long as possible, trying to focus down actually on the Zenyatta, but not able to find any picks, so Tanchu has to back right away, and T1W, who just soft reset, can essentially recommit because already back into the fight is Silver 3, looking for a way to dive right back into this as T1W. Mija close to another Meteor Strike, and LGD is all over the map. Nobody's close to each other. You see Kaneki doing what he can just try to stay alive and make sure his support line stays safe as the rally comes through, but also in response does come out a sound barrier. Now the EMP gets used and LGD is completely affected by it, and T1W will pick up the pieces. Meteor Strike in, Meteor Strike down. All of the players for LGD crumble once again, and that will be T1W likely finishing off capture point B as long as they can sustain off of the respawns that come through, of which none will touch in time. T1W improved their lead to 3.
Yeah, and what was really nice too is that they got the extra value too. Tanks, you didn't find any value. The Primal Rage rookie swapped over to the Zarya. Didn't have enough time to swap over to the Reinhardt, complete that puzzle, but it is what it is. Heading into further extra rounds, we're going to have to see how LGD take their attack.
We'll see how LaFon thinks about this so far. We've been away for a while, and he's probably got lots to talk about as we go into this pivotal map 3.
I think one of the things is that LGD is looking really strong. The problem is that they can't get any final blows. They're not killing anything, and that's really costing them a ton. If you look at the time bank, though, they bought a lot of time just by existing. I think the rotations are pretty smart. The rotations are pretty clean now. They just need to get that final blow engagement, and it's coming down to their ult economy. They're using ultimates inefficiently, and they're not really finding value out of them. We saw that Sound Barrier, Primal Rage, Nano Boost all committed at the same time, and not a single kill came out from, not a single elimination, rather, came out from any of those. So that's really the difference here, I think, is that T1W, they're playing it slow, but they're getting the final blows, and even though their time bank is inferior, they do have the double cap. So that has been the big difference maker here thus far in Volsky Industries.
Well, Panda, again, we were talking about the first time these two teams met up, but it's a different look to the game so far, including the Baptiste, like you mentioned, a couple of really clutch immortality fields coming through, and that's been what's been a lot of the play that really allowed T1W to move through so far. We'll see if we'll see more of that. I anticipate we probably will, considering the value they got, and it looks like so far T1W defensively will be bringing it out.
Sure, don't fix when I broke on point A.
Yeah, sure.
T1W, high B on the... It's like a third defensive ultimate is Immortality Field. Again, LGD Gaming, they have to focus all of their resources just to break the disc. And all that time, T1W were just poking you, me just going on the flank just to look for any sort of backline pressure, but this is going to be in the favor. LGD Gaming can take this upstairs rotation. They can wait for all their resources to be available. T1W can meet them eye for eye, but the point presence for sustain can definitely go in the favor of LGD Gaming. They just got to keep their backline alive. They drop down for the Mega Pack that is hacked for Molarun's favor as they try to take this engage on point. And like LaFon was saying, existing here is where LGD Gaming is going to have the advantage.
Well, Secret has already found so much damage as well, already 60% essentially to that Transcendence, as the fight, again, not quite breaking out yet. Molarun trying to just stay alive for the time being, as he will go up to the high ground. Secret finds the first blood, though, on Wuya. That's absolutely pivotal, because now you will essentially get this Transcendence for free, if you even need it. And I don't think they're going to. LGD have already found themselves 3 picks, and, well, all the big ones are down. No frontliners, now no supports. LGD will find point A very quickly. Plenty of time to play with, and the potential really to snowball here, as they will have Rookie on a Graviton Surge relatively closely, but more importantly, the Transcendence is ready to go.
Solo tank Silver 3 on the Reinhardt. They're looking for some sort of value, probably out of the amplification matrix, maybe switch over to their own Zarya here as well, but this is looking very dangerous. LGD Gaming able to find a lot of value. They have the Transcendence available to fight through whatever T1W want to throw at them, but Rookie's getting closer and closer to this Graviton Surge. T1W nowhere close to a defensive ultimate. Outside of the Immortality Field, it's not going to be enough to fight through a Graviton Surge.
EMP, though, is ready as well now from Molarun.
That's right.
Just but Illusion goes down for 6-man. EMP comes through. Can't T1W even follow up after this, though? There's just so much damage coming in, and
they're fighting through it.
They're going to be able to, as 2 players go down. Mija falls. LGD on the back end of a Transcendence will also be able to clean things up. Huge EMP for T1W, but again, there was no damage there whatsoever. And LGD now have Rookie with the Graviton Surge as well. Not even really going to need the damage, even though, of course, you'll take it just to clean things up. Wow, we're going to go 4-4 here, but look at the time banks as we have 3 minutes and 50 seconds plus for LGD. What a take, even through what was a massive EMP from T1W.
Yoinkers, my time bank now. But that's the one thing too, is that Immortality Field, you can try to say that it's going to be a lot of worth. The Amplification Matrix, you even saw that Wanli was able to sidestep that Fire Strike, would have actually one-shot him with the Amplification Matrix from the Baptiste, but that's the one thing I set up wonderfully, is that they didn't set themselves up for success. I mean, maybe Hy-B finds a little bit of value with the Baptiste on the second point that you can end up forcing their way back. But with Molaron just trying to force their way onto Sombra on that last point, you get the 6-man AMP, came out on the Zarya. There were no swaps that basically enabled themselves onto the second point. More importantly, it just kind of leaves Silver 3 out in the open just to get, well, quite literally just bounced and bullied around too. I mean, you're facing against a lot of different disruption that the entire team of LGD Gaming are running just in the 3-2-1 alone. Your Reinhardt needs help, and T1W not being able to give the Reinhardt just that to push their way into the middle of the fight, that's always going to go in the favor of any sort of team that has triple support, especially. And when you have your Zenyatta like LGD Gaming, again, just finding a lot of damage, they're pulling out a lot of resources and a lot of focus from the supports of T1W as well. Just doing a fantastic job of just making sure that the resource management is always a little bit offset for T1W, and that's where LGD are again finding a lot of success. Again, going back to Lafon's point, they're doing a better job of quite literally just existing, because that's the compositions that they're running that they're able to end up doing here. Just again, I can't highlight it enough too. I mean, I can only imagine just how many of us are just sitting here just scratching our heads, because the composition of T1W it made no sense. It literally made no sense. They have not been able to set themselves up for success on that second point, and now they find themselves at a massive time bank disadvantage at that. They will have to attack one more time again. The higher the time bank will be in LGD's favor, so they will be defending first again. They took an adaptation once in the previous time. We're gonna have to see how they end up doing it again onto this third defense now. Working our way up to a 6 capture point map here, and what's most important to remember too is just the amount of discipline that LGD are showing here. I mean, there are a lot of times where you're going to see Tankshu going incredibly aggressive, and at least his team, well, literally open to a chronic amount of damage. But what's most important to note of that too is how much further back he's playing. I know it's not that much further, but the charge is going about like 7 meters less. So I mean, it's a slight improvement. And what that does for the rest of the team is just allow them to play around with their resources more timely and play more reactively too. And that's exactly what I wanted to note on for the pre-show, is that LGD Gaming, when they want to play this tempo, the slow methodical tempo, they want to make T1W go into them, so that way they can use their resources passive aggressively and end up turning it back in their favor. So T1W now on their third attack are going to end up rolling out here with the Ryan Zarya composition. No Baptiste, no triple support. Molaron and Misha still in the Doomfist and the Sombra. They're going to try to be going on this upstairs flank, trying to take the high ground. Misha goes really hard in, gets the bubble, everything. 20 HP. He gets shot down.
That's absolutely terrible. As again, I actually just from previously you were calling that out, we actually had to use the Biotic just to keep himself alive, because Wanli was doing significant damage in the backline to him. So again, this is a lot of very valuable time off the clock for LGD defensively. You will still have LGD trying to find a way to keep T1W. Miji goes down again now. That's 2 in a row. So this is absolutely terrible. 6v5, and now for LGD, you can find one way just to find this opening frontline pick, and that might be win condition for you, as Rookie's near full charge, finding so much confirmed damage. Everyone's trapped in this small little hut. Luya goes down. Big Purple comes through to help take down Kaneki, but it doesn't really come at much success, as there will be all of the front line for T1W falling apart. Mija again coming in a little bit too late, and that will be all LGD, like you mentioned, staggering. Just 20 seconds left. They still have a couple of respawns they have to worry about themselves, so one more fight will likely happen here for T1W.
And they lost Illusion at last. This is going to be so hard. 8 seconds left on the clock. It's going to be very difficult for T1W to even touch. They're going to have to dedicate Silver 3 just to probably charge in here. They're just walking through the choke. Can anybody make it here in time?
Wait, no way.
Just in time. Just in time. LGD Gaming, though, they have so many ultimates to play with.
Yeah, they had to translocate just to get there. So now the rally being used for LGD as they want to push forward 100% charge this rookie. But Hoyo-chan goes on first, and we've got a big EMP able to find 4 in combination with the big biotic grenade on 3. Secret not able to heal through any of that with that Transcendence, essentially amounting to nothing. And once again, Team 1W showing the heroics, that time on the back end of Waya. Whoa, what a play with the Biotic. We were talking about Secret's usage of it, but here Waya runs the day.
Yeah, and they're able to win the fight off of 2 ultimates with the nano boost included, so they're getting closer to the slam jam combo. Silver 3 held onto the Earth Shatter shift. 30 seconds gives over to the time bank now after you capture the first point. T1W are going to assess the situation, how they can end up finding their way into this back part. Sleep Dart goes through. Secret actually goes mirror for the matchup. Wanley goes down. He gets found out by Miji. He died with the EMP.
And he has EMP like you said, so now it just comes down to Silver 3 fighting himself an Earth-Shattering combination. T1W are looking to steamroll right through, but a Sound Barrier will come in to boost up the HP of LGD, and now they're turning things around as Rookie is able to put down a Graviton Surge of his own, but everybody's still very full, even as Wanli comes back through with an EMP. No one's even fallen remotely close to low for T1W, who is able to get the Meteor Strike down, but Rien able to fall down first. A little bit of stun-on-stun action. LGD able to clean up the front line, and just like that, full charge is Rookie, and he finds himself in a lot of the kill feed. LGD will hold on, but T1W able to find a very pivotal point to capture on the first capture at A, and then find some success on B as well.
That got a little hairy there, didn't it? You know, it just came down to, again, there was one pivotal moment there that I got to turn back, is when Mija was actually going back and looking for Secret. Secret actually landed 3 shots back to back to back on the Doomfist, forced out the Meteor Strike too, and that's just the lethality that you get when you're playing the Ana too. I mean, I know, okay, Lafon sold me out. I do like playing a lot of Ana. Sure, I am your resident support main here, but it's okay because that's what you get from playing Ana too. You get the resources out from Doomfist, especially when they needed that for the big bang or for the big slam jam combo that they were able to set up with. Good Graviton Surge came through from LGD Gaming. Able to lock down a lot of members too, and then the resource warfare ended up coming through. Spawn room advantage, you get the 1 pick, and you're able to snowball your way back into the defender's side with your own ultimates as well. And well, again, not being able to get a single tick, this is what I'm talking about. The win condition has been set, and this is Assault.
A lot of time here too.
Yeah, and this is Assault at its finest too. I mean, let's not forget how decisive LGD have been able to take the first point of Assault here. Both of their attacks able to set themselves up on the second point with that plethora amount of time that they have allotted to themselves. So as they set themselves up for this third and final attack, it is a single capture point and 33.33% on the second point to win this map and go up in the series against T1W, who we thought were going to be able to walk away with this one. Unmitigated damage is being seen here from LGD. Wanli's getting a lot of backline pressure. Secret's finding a lot of value in Ana and Zenyatta, and Rookie's just being able to exist with Tankchu on the front line. Nobody's able to deal with all of the frontline oppression with the backline pressure that LGD are existing here. 3-2-1 Sombra, very effective for them. T1W, they're sticking on to this composition, though. Hy-Vee onto the Zarya. Look at this engage, LGD.
Aggressive. Rookie is finding himself saying, this is my high ground now. Go ahead and get down to that point. Let Tanshu do Tanshu things. He has been playing very well today, like you mentioned, but it actually does get rocket punched against a wall. Will survive through it. Rookie now near full charge. Try to focus down Hy-Vee. He's very low, and Hy-Vee goes down. Huge pick for LGD. Without that Zarya being there, there's a lot of extra confirmed damage on the table for LGD. Wanli also very close to an EMP, but so is Molinran. So can they still fight back? T1W has been very good fighting in 65 situations. Will boost up Silver 3, who gets hacked. EMP comes out to follow up, though, so T1W able to survive through it. Kills back and forth. Not a decisive winner as of yet, but Mija, now that everyone's EMP'd with no cooldowns, he's able to do Doomfist things, and they will thrust back LGD just before they can capture.
Hashtag just Doomfist things. But Hy-Vee also went down as well, so only halfway to that Graviton Surge working their way back. EMP had to be used, but what was most important is that Secret actually didn't get hit by the EMP. They got slept by Waya. As soon as the Transcendence was about to be completed, could have turned around that fight. They only lost 1. It would have been an even fight too, if not with a man advantage at that point with the Transcendence. So now LGD Gaming, they're reeling, but they have ultimates to play with again, especially the Graviton Surge and the Earthshatter, the EMP as well. They can use 1 or 2 ultimates and set up a snowball again. They still have 2 minutes here, Shift.
Yeah, Tanshu just surveying the area while his shield gets continually busted down, just very, very low. Will back up, though. Needs to find a little bit of healing. Rookie still not full charge. Here comes the EMP. Doesn't find nearly as much as I think they wanted to. Tanshu with the Earthshatter not really find able to much as well as Rookie will drop down a Graviton Surge, but he's very low charge, and Tanshu falls. So it looks like T1W, with the support
they're using everything
that they have, They should be able to sustain through this. The Nano Boost very close to coming up. Illusion does fall, though, so potential to fight this back. Mija, can he do more heroic things? Jaime, now with the Graviton Surge, he finally gets it up, and he will just put down Kaneki inside of it. We're still seeing back and forth going through. It's just Jaime left alive as Rookie will clean him up, no problem. LGD will convert 5-5, and again, you mentioned it, they just need to find one tick of progress here at B.
Terrible decision to use the Graviton Surge there from Jaime. Now they don't have it for the second point. They will have the Earth Shatter and the EMP, but Time Bank is still in the favor for LGD Gaming. Rookie was able to walk away. Look, he's glowing up like a darn Christmas tree. One more bubble is going to be able to put him back up at 100% charge. Still able to lay down a lot of damage and frontline pressure. Wanli's getting closer to the EMP. LGD Gaming.
Aggressive.
Oh, man, the big shatter from Silver
Gets stunned up really quickly. Chanshu will fall. T1W. They need to win this fight cleanly. Will they even use anything else for it? Tanshu, the first one falling, means that obviously no shielding in front, but they're not able to confirm much damage beyond that. Rookie able to survive with his life. Mija trying to chase down, but won't find any kills. The big news, though, is that T1W not only were able to keep the EMP, but they're able to charge up the Nano Boost to defend this next push.
But that's okay if you're LGD Gaming, right? You have the Transcendence for more than likely the EMP if the reaction timing is there from Secret. LGD Gaming do have the EMP. Getting closer, Rookie again, surviving with charge. He's going to get this Graviton Surge well before Jaime will. So, again, time in the favor. Last fight scenario, LGD Gaming using ultimates. This fight, they have to. They want to win out this map. They don't want it to end in a draw.
Rookie is finding so much damage. Here comes the Nano Boost, though. That's going to be put onto Silver 3. EMP able to follow up. And that's going to be a Transcendence coming in as well. The charge from Tanshu into the backline means he can slap everybody in the support line. And LGD are looking to potentially close out this pivotal map 3. They sure will. Oh, buddy. This is so... Oh, my goodness. And the fact that we're seeing just so much good Ana gameplay after seeing her really struggle a lot over the last few weeks has been really refreshing, but it's caused a lot of chaos that I don't think any of us really expected. LGD coming through in the thick of things, able to find those first opening picks, and then able to follow up with the EMP just behind it. Of course, we've seen a lot of memes in the last couple weeks saying just EMP and win the fight, but it's been a little bit more difficult here. But it's more difficult, easier said than done, I guess is the best way of saying it so far from what we've seen today.
Yeah, I mean, when you have Honest playing at this high a level, when you have Divas scout checking at every single corner as well, and even the Zaryas, the Lucios too, every single member of both these teams are playing extremely well. Some high-level Overwatch. I mean, this is some of the best Overwatch I've seen from Mija, especially since the last season. I mean, Zarya's looking a lot better, getting a lot of good flanks off as well. He's finding massive value in the Doomfist, but we already knew that was probably going to happen if he ever got to play that hero. So what matters the most here is just how T1W are able to combat against this pressure. Let's not forget the setup for semifinals here, Shift. It's first to 3. And this is game point. This is match point here for LGD Gaming. And what's on the line is a showdown spot. And T1W, they want to be there. They have been very dominant in this region for quite some time, apart from a few different seasons. You could see a couple of these replays coming through here. Here's that Graviton Surge I was talking about. Mija was on the flank, missed the timing as well, and this just allowed Rookie, again, always sustaining so much charge, so much more charge rather than Mija as well. And this is the tempo fight in between the two teams that I cannot stress enough. When you end up playing that slow methodical warfare, if you don't find those picks on Mija, you run into problems like this, where you get EMP'd, countered Transcendence, and then shattered immediately. The ultimate economy for LGD Gaming are very strong, and this is the methodical gameplay and the tempo that you want them to play, so that way Team 1W can't get this hyper-aggressive mindset as well. Who would have thought that, especially saying Secret on the Ana, would actually combat against Doomfist better than the Zenyatta, who I guess by far would actually do more damage. Let's not forget Ana can't hit headshots as well, but with the Discord Orb and the, I guess, the triangle-esque hitbox on to the Zenyatta, I can see where they're coming from as well. You got to bring the Grandma Overwatch to it. Again, you had highlighted it wonderfully. The Biotic Grenade really changes a lot of turns for the fights, especially when Hybe's not on that, on the Diva.
Indeed. But we will be seeing a very interesting situation. LGD, again, on one map away from not only going to the finals, but also the Pacific Showdown. We'll be back with map number 4 just after this. Warren, welcome back. Again, a lot of surprise as LGD is the team that is ahead against what a lot of people would consider to be the favorite here in T1W. 6-5 was Volskaya, a very elongated map, and we'll be heading over to Junkertown now for what could potentially be the last map if LGD can find a way to pull it out.
Yeah, and a definite highlight here is that we actually have Assassin in for Mija as we go into Junkertown. So as we were all pondering before we jumped into this map, Could be double sniper. Could be a lot of interesting compositions too. T1W, they definitely like to play their DPS compositions, that's for sure. And this is Widow's playground all the way up until third point. You could literally force the value of both Widow and Ashe on defense and attack for first all the way to second. There's a lot of high ground that you can be playing around, a lot of good flanks as well. You can even play a double sniper with the Hanzo as well. You can also run a Sombra Tracer here as well. Very flank heavy map as we get into second point, but strictly 3-3 as we get into the third and very in close capture point of Junkertown. What's still very scary is that even in those vanilla fights is that LGD are still winning when they do end up forcing that tempo, regardless of the matter. You have to expect that T1W will end up going over to 3-3 eventually, and when that ends up happening, it almost seems inevitable, but that the resource economy is going to shine for LGD Gaming. Most importantly, too, when you play those high DPS compositions, if it's not based around dive shift, expect to see Secret on the Ana, which we highlighted really, really well, is finding a lot of value.
A lot of value. Up until the point where Mija gets into his face, he's been essentially what a lot of people would say is close, if not completely free, to, again, like you mentioned, get big biotic grenades up, but also the nano boost has been getting charged so very quickly. It feels like almost every single time that they got into a fight, it was nano boosted Tanchu in your face. That, again, we talked about this kind of in our story meeting notes, and we haven't really hit it a lot here in this broadcast, but Tanchu at the beginning of the season was way over aggressive, and it kind of felt like there's been a little bit of a polarity between not only him playing a little bit softer and a little bit, not really softer, but playing a little bit more reserved, but his support line is saying, well, hey, if he wants to play aggressive, let's commit a lot of our resources to him to make sure he can find the efficiency that he needs. And that's a lot of the reason that this Ana has found more value, is not because of the biotic grenades necessarily from the support, but also the fact that Tanchu is able to go off and do what he wants when he's nano boosted. And again, it's caused so much disruption in the backline for T1W.
Hey, get a lot of damage mitigation from that nano boost. You bring yourself back to when nano boost first came around. Could you imagine if Tanchu had that speed too? I mean, that would just be scary as
I don't want to picture
hell.
it.
Oh my god, but yeah, very aggressive too. And what an Ana ends up bringing that table is that if Tanchu actually lands the pin from the charge of Reinhardt, you biotic grenade the Reinhardt, well, actually the splash damage will reach over to the pinned target, anti-ing them as well, and that could pull out a bubble too if you're on the Rein Zarya composition for the opposing side. And that's where Secret's finding a lot of value too, is just in the space being created is when the biotic grenades come through as everybody's trying to deal with Tanchu. And when you get that biotic grenade onto a friendly target, there's a lot more healing that can come through. It enables everybody on the rest of your team, whether you're playing the Brigitte, whether you're playing the Lucio as well, you amp out heals, you got a little bit more value over to your sound barrier or to your rally as well. And that's one thing that I can definitely highlight exclusively, is that when Brigettas are being played on both ends of the field, I mean, Kaneki's just finding massive amounts of value just in this aggression alone. I mean, it's very hard to be in front of Tankchu when he's playing this aggressively, but when you are when you are on the side of Tankchu and you are getting a lot of cleave damage with the flail of Brigitte, you're going to be able to not only lay down enough damage, support by the way, but you're also going to be able to layer in a lot more sustain in the middle of the fight with those very those impactful rallies. And with all that being said, when you lay down that much more frontline pressure, it just allows Secret to do whatever they please in the backline. It's going to be a little bit more difficult on Junkertown. They're going to have to play a little bit more of an open style because of the nature and the terrain of the first point
stage
of Junkertown. Yeah, you have to be either playing around the water tower, you could be playing around the double stack vans over by the capture point on defense. But when you're on the second point, or even in that window area, or even on the attack, you have to be very careful. You have to watch your step and watch your flanks too, because you can be open to a lot of damage that you don't necessarily want.
Well, the other thing too, kind of, again, with how much success that LGD has not only been able to find with Tanchu getting aggressive into the front line, but how safe the back line has been up until Mija does Doomfist things, is it's forced T1W to kind of play a more passive tone, or rather, they like to play a passive tone where they're the ones responding, reacting, and taking frontline battles, but now they're put into a situation where they have to find a way to disrupt the Ana so she's not back there for free. And we'll see exactly how this one pans out. LGD will be going with the double sniper setup and also using the pulled port combination of the Orisa and the Roadhog. We'll see exactly how this moves on. Will this be the solo support of Mercy? Mullenrand immediately down as he's trying to pull out a Genji, something that we've seen him play very little of so far this season. And, well, maybe he'll consider if he wants to stay on that after getting absolutely dismantled very quickly here by LGD.
I have to wonder why T1W is doing a 3-2-1 Genji composition. I mean, sure, you could set up a win condition with the Nano Blade, but It's a lot to be asked there, especially in the composition LGD gaming. They're basically made to snuff out any sort of flankers, especially Kaneki gets antied, able to pull himself back, and Hoyo-chan's right there to heal themselves up. A triple tank composition for LGD on the defense. It equates to a lot of good sustain, and they can more or less just exist even more wherever position that they take, but only having the Mercy for heals, T1W can run over one target. They can deal a lot of damage. Good sleep.
That's a lot of extra damage not on the table while she's sleeping through, and Eren able to find the first elimination into Kaneki, but Silver 3 and Assassin fall again. Assassin had been subbed in, so without Nietzsche being here, Assassin will take over the reins on the Zarya, and well, we saw him play this a little bit throughout the season. He, again, like you mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, it's essentially just a nameplate change. Both of them have had very equal representation of the Zarya throughout this season. But here it looks like LGD will be able to sustain through finding the frontline picks, so T1W again will have to regroup and hopefully find something with the Nano Blade coming up next.
Well, they don't have a defensive ultimate. Hoyo-chan actually threw away the Valkyrie there in that fight as well. They do have the Nano Blade like you were starting to mention as well, and this could be their condition, but if Secret gets this whole hog, they can solo it.
And looking to find the supercharger first, trying to focus on the front line, and yep, they're able to take down Tanchu. Assassin does fall though, so this fight is by no means over. The whole hog comes through at very low HP, and then immediately healed right back up. Wanli also with the infrared sight, but LGD able to fight back after the Nano Blade, but Hy-Vee finds two with the self-destruct sequence, and in one of them being the Mercy means there's no support here for LGD. It just comes down to the self-healing out of Secret, who will likely not be able to self-sustain through all of the numbers that are here for T1W. A little bit of extra delay off the clock, but surely this should be a first point capture for T1W.
Yep, you see Tangchi swapping over to Winston, maybe able to get back there in time. Won't even try his luck. 2 minutes and 30 seconds to take all the way for T1W to finally capture this first point. The only way that dive works is with ultimates as well. Saw Nano Blade actually just thrown out just for the supercharger and for the Orisa was the only value that was able to find, but the entire composition of LGD, it's made to make dives feel very vulnerable. So T1W swapping over to a full 3-3 with the Ana and the Winston composition as well. They will have a sound barrier for the middle of this fight. Good engage though from T1W.
Yeah, immediately finding Kaneki and Tanchu also down means that LGD again, you really can't fight this one back, not having, again, one of your main supports in Brigitte in this composition, but also missing your big frontliner in Winston, so T1W will take this free fight, and more importantly, they're able to essentially find a 6-pack ultimates for the next one.
Yeah, and what's most important is LGD, they wanted to take that fight knowingly that they were going to end up losing. They had to get as many resources out from T1W as they possibly could have, and they just didn't. So LGD now are going to be able to swap over to their own variation of 3-3 or 3-2-1 now with Wanli onto the Sombra. Going to look for that backline pressure onto Waya, but they have the D.Va, so they can mitigate this damage coming through with biotic grenades. Good hack on Waya. No follow-up, though.
Yeah, able to just narrowly get themselves out. Graviton Surge with Fire Grenade does get soaked up. T1W, though, does getting hacked by Wanli, but Illusion able to stay alive through it. So the sound barrier will keep everybody alive from T1W, and now it's just on Silver 3 to find a potential target as Tanchu stunned while he was in the middle, and actually near the end of his channel of the Primal Rage. He does take down Wuya again, not able to stay alive to the back end. LGD, seeing their advantage, will hit the go call. Hoyo-chan using the sound barrier, that'll be enough for them to get aggressive and hopefully find a couple more picks to make this worth it. And well, they'll only find Ran and maybe one more. Yep, Illusion will also fall, essentially sacrificing themselves so everybody else could get out of dodge, but still, LGD able to set themselves up aggressively now in this high ground. And spawn camp just a touch, but you can't stay here for super long. You would love to see Wanli get this EMP, and then maybe you can commit more aggressively.
Everything in the kitchen sink being thrown out sets up Secret to have the Transcendence available for this next fight. They can actually use this very aggressively, knowing that Assassin won't be having the Graviton Surge for another fight. And especially with the EMP online, might be the only other ultimate that you need. Silver 3 onto the Reinhardt, though. It gives you a lot more brawl with Waya, the Discord Orb, able to punish Tankchu for that dive. Decisive fight.
And here again, that's one of those moments where Tanchu gets caught just a little bit off guard and a little bit out of position. Granted, he did get stunned up, but LGD, no chance to fight this back after losing Tanchu, who will swap off the Winston going into the third stage over to the Reinhardt. Wanli does have an EMP to utilize here, and well, he should be able to get this off for free considering there are no support ultimates available quite yet for T1W. It just comes down to what do they commit and when for LGD's defense here.
Sooner rather than later, especially with the cart just getting through the door, just starting to close as well. You see them playing above the fidget spinner. Is Silver 3 going to disengage right back to the cart? They have to know that Wanli's EMP is going to be coming out here momentarily, but Silver 3 on this Reinhardt preemptively setting up for third point. We'll get that Earth Shatter first. T1W need to be very careful. They don't have a defensive ultimate to fight against this sound barrier or the EMP, even though they know it's coming.
Semifinals. A lot of poking
playing
going
super
on
split
so far. Yeah, T1W up in the high ground, down on the low ground, all over the place. Self-destruct sequence will force LGD to back away, and it finds Tanshu. Oh no, this is terrible for LGD as they do commit the Transcendence, and it's not going to provide any value whatsoever. Even High be able to retain his mech. Oh boy, that's tough for LGD. You hate to see it, and T1W can now push on forward. They've got just about everything they would ever want, simply only using the self-destruct sequence. That's big for the push of T1W.
Yeah. Offsetting every single bit of tempo that LGD were looking to play here, and T1W able to offset them, winning that fight off the self-destruct. They have so many ultimates to play with here, Shift.
EMP able to find 5, but not enough because Illusion is able to keep the sound barrier in play, but just before the EMP came out, so a lot of that armor was taken down by the EMP itself. Assassin dropped in the Graviton Surge and isn't able to find many kills, but finally the damage has been dealt. Tanshu falls again. It's almost like we sung his praises for too long because now he's being absolutely focus fired out first and foremost every single fight. T1W, they should complete the map here as long as they can take care of Rookie, who will try to get back but not be able to touch in time. And this is the T1W we're more used to seeing here, Panda. It's been a lot of different shades of what we have come to expect from T1W, but this is full value hue and saturation on their true colors. You're welcome.
And I disagree fully with Secret going back over to the Ana on third. We talked about how Secret was able to find a lot of value on Ana. Well, that was when there was no Diva being played for T1W, but now on that third and final point, we even said it ourselves, casters, analysts, third point Junkertown. I mean, that's 3-3 territory through and through.
Oh, yeah.
You have to be prepared for these kind of things, and being dove on that 3-3, being quite literally forced out, finding little to no value with the biotic grenade too. But I gotta highlight one member in particular, and that's actually going to end up being Illusion. Fantastic Lucio play coming out there. Again, for the 2 EMPs that ended up connecting there, and it actually saw a lot of value, 5-man EMPs at that. Got immediately snuffed out by Sound Barrier, where you see Lucio's normally playing along with their team, where you would have a Transcendence readily and available for that. It's actually Illusion that comes out with the 200 IQ play and is able to hide through. It's really good communication from the supports in between Waya and Illusion. We have not sung enough praises, especially in the pre-show all the way to now, which is in our map 4. Both of these support lineups are very strong. Some of the reasons why their tank lineups look so good and why their DPS are able to do whatever they please is because of the amount of sustain that they're able to bring to the table. And I have to look at it, especially for Illusion, those disengages that we saw from Control all the way to Assault, and just right now with the Sound Barrier play, firing off on all cylinders, doing a very good job of mitigating as much damage as possible and shutting down EMPs as well. I mean, that's LGD's trump card here. So as they set themselves up for the attack, they have to know that they have to be playing out for the extra rounds here. A minute and 19 for T1W. Wanli on the Widowmaker, high value.
Yeah, just looking for the opening pick, and actually will find the value taking down Silver 3, who was trying to play cheeky on the Mei. That was a very interesting strategy set up for T1W, trying to catch LGD off guard, but not today. Wanli able to find one more body shot in the Mullen Ran, so now numbers for LGD, and well, another sleep in Wanli, able to find the free headshot. Thank you for making me look good. Thank you so much, Secret. Again, being so good in the sauna. Sleep Dart Snipe coming through. Wanli finding the value. Looks like he's going to stay on this for a little bit longer than we normally see.
Yeah. Thank you, T1W, for giving up whatever the heck that composition was, going over to a true 3-2-1 here. Silver 3 back on the Reinhardt instead of the Mei of all things. See Rookie just spinning around, doing a nice little pirouette there with his beam, looking for any sort of Sombra nuttiness. But again, the Venom Mine paying high, massive amounts of value. The closer they get to this infrared site, it's just going to be better. The Sleep Dart again! Oh, Secret, you're a madman!
This, again, Secret has been the X factor for LGD, and I hate that we keep harping on one specific player, but supports rarely get called out for all the great play they make. Secret has been at the forefront of every conversation for every team fight win. Now boosting up Tanshu. Oh boy, or likely will be boosting up Tanshu if needed, is again just able to find that nano boost, but a very clean first push for LGD as they break through, and they've got a 5-minute time bank for the second stage.
Oh man, yeah, I was gonna say if Wanli's 6 on this Widowmaker, you gotta nano boost him one time. The body shot king's gotta come through, but gonna take the swap over to McCree now. Can definitely find a little bit more value, but this is what we were talking about back on Control and even through Hybrid as well. You take this McCree, take the super McCree composition, it's an extra stun to the party. No dive tanks here from T1W, so what ends up this playing dividends is high ground control. Mulrun's going to be getting snuffed down time and time again with the Sleep Dart. Now that has to face the Flashbang and the Shield Bash shoe. Mulrun's not going to have a fun time in this backline.
And Wanli, for all intents and purposes, is essentially sniping just with 6-shooter capabilities, and now as he's sitting on this high ground for free. UGMP comes through to find 3, and it will be trades back and forth as the Graviton Surge will fade away for Rookie, and T1W still have resources to spend in this fight, and it looks like they're happy to utilize them if even necessary, which it might not be. Silver 3 picking up Kaneki one more time, and T1W will be able to sustain themselves through that, and not a lot of resources used. The sound barrier and rally came out, but LGD still have an Earth Shatter and a boost to go in with potentially a sound barrier for this next fight.
And I have to wonder if they lose this fight decisively, does T1W go over to the full 3-3 at this point? Because there's just so much value that LGD is going to be able to find here. They have the Deadeye available and the Nano Boost. Secret can't get away with this much value. Graviton Surge comes down from T1W. Where's the follow-up?
There's none of it, and now the High Noon comes through. Will he be able to find a pick?
Trade.
Does find William. It's a big trade, but the sound barrier comes out immediately for T1W. 5-on-5, and LGD's on the back foot here, and T1W looks like they will convincingly take this fight as nothing is left available in the support bank for LGD to sustain through. T1W hold the high ground and hold the defense.
That was very important for the Graviton Surge from Assassin to find at least somewhat value, especially Heidi getting a last bit of cleave damage to finalize that. Wanli now on to the Hanzo. You get that Sonic Arrow into your backline, you're going to be able to find out where Molarun's kind of flanking around and all those kind of things. The Storm Arrow is also really good in close proximity to deal with the Storm, but look how aggressive T1W is playing. They get soaked up by a grab.
No, this is absolutely terrible, but the damage is actually good for T1W as the rally comes through to keep just a little bit of extra HP and armor coming into the mix. Tanshu falling first. Again, we've said that more often in this map than we have throughout the rest of the set. T1W's focus fire has been really punishing for Tanshu, who he's probably wondering what exactly he has to do. He's tried playing passively. He's tried to engage. Neither of them have worked all that well so far in Junkertown.
Yep, and T1W, it's Assassin now being subbed in again for Misha, is able to build up another Graviton Surge. LGD Gaming, they have no answer for this. I know Secret's finding a lot of value in Ana, but you need that Transcendence at this point, too. You need that extra damage coming out from the Zenyatta, which on this current patch is still 20%, still really good. And Wanli's not finding as much value as you would like here on the Hanzo. EMP'd again.
Finds a 5-man Tanshu down first again. Assassin able to clean up as well. T1W convincingly take the fight in the back end of an EMP, and well, again, Wanli just having a little bit of a hodgepodge of which damage hero he wants to play as he's swapped over to the Hanzo, and he's only 50% to a Dragon Strike, and they're running out of time, under 2 minutes now.
I mean, you can go ahead and try to play for the Biotic Grenade inside the Graviton Surge with the Dragon Strike, but yep, there you go. You don't even try to play those. Wanli goes over to the Diva. It's probably just a better pick again. Try to mitigate any sort of volleys or fire strikes. Silver 3 and Wyo, they're getting away with way too much. More importantly, because of the time bank now, Assassin is going to be laying down this Graviton Surge. It's a little bit of an asking too much of a Diva player, but you got to eat this Graviton Surge, man. You got to be able to shut down as much as you can, so that way LGD Gaming can find their foot on the payload. I mean, look how much the cart has been backtracked. It's starting near parked in underneath that that hut area, but here comes the Graviton Surge now. T1W.
Oh, Yo-chan is down though. Assassin tries to counter, but there are so many low health pools. Nano Boost out for LGD. And it looks like T1W will get a nice little sound boop away from Illusion to keep everybody alive and let that sustain come into play. Sound Barrier now potentially ready to go. T1W holding on to a lot of ultimates. Silver 3 gets stunned for a small moment. Here comes the rally. Now Rookie with the Graviton Surge of his up with the Transcendence is here. Not enough to keep Hybe alive, but Tanshu falls as both Sound Barriers come down in tandem of one another. And well, for LGD, they're forced to back up once again. Not having Tanshu has been so pivotal. And, well, I guess the delay of how much push they're able to get, which is amounted to, like you said, essentially nothing as this payload has been parked. But T1W do not like the situation. They do not want to fight on these terms. They want the high ground. So they'll soft reset, let LGD push for a little bit further, and then try to re-engage, jumping down from the high ground when they feel the time is right.
Molarun's got another EMP. LGD Gaming, they have nothing to fight against this. They hack Hoyo-chan just in case. It's a 5-man
EMP. Yikes. There it goes.
That's
Clean
game.
up. 100% charges Assassin, and yep, I think you're absolutely right, as Assassin and Silver combined.
We're going to a map 5.
The two of them. 8 seconds left. No one's going to be able to touch in time, likely, and even if they do, it'll be in staggered fashion. Map 5 coming up. This will be pretty solid. Again, T1W, that was the best we've seen them look, and I would say the most representative that we've seen them play throughout the entirety of the regular season. So map 5, like you said, coming up next. LGD did not have a response for anything that T1W just threw at them.
It's just high macro play coming out there from T1W. I really, really love to see that kind of stuff. Again, this is probably the best Zarya that I've seen, both out of Misha and Assassin as well. And again, just the high macro play again. Wyo over to the over to the Zenyatta, realizing where they can find a lot more value. Sure, you can let Biotic Grenade come through, but even in those final moments as well, through the Graviton Surge, most of you would probably think that double layering support ultimates would not be good, but because the Biotic Grenade came through on to the tank line of T1W, the sound barrier was right there to mitigate it immediately. There was nothing to shut that down. They didn't have an EMP of their own. They weren't even running a Sombra through all of that, too. They actually had to be forced over to 3-3 in that final minute and a half. And now we have a very interesting fight between us, because walking into this match, you would think that control would definitely go over to the favor of T1W because of their DPS-eccentric compositions, but LGD were able to take away Lijiang Tower. That was the ace in the hole. And now it's really just up in the air.
I was kind of hoping that you wouldn't go there, because that's what we expected.
I went there.
At map 1 was that the assault, or pardon me, that the control would go in favor of T1W, and it was a very back and forth affair as we take a couple of looks at Juan Lee's little all-star studded play. That, I mean, again, if you missed that one, I question, but
there was 2 of those too.
There were 2 of those, exactly, like you mentioned. I want to get LaFon's take real quickly, though, before we head to a break, just on what he saw through Junkertown, because, again, my biggest takeaway was that this was not the T1W in this previous set that we'd seen all season until this Junkertown push. Again, is it just the fact that they're finding Tanshu so regularly, or is T1W starting to clean things up finally in these 3-3 comps?
After that game, Tanshu should look over to Wanli and smack him, because that was insanely dumb from him. I mean, like, you cannot play mystery heroes for that long and expect anything to happen. I'm sorry, if you're gonna make
it only works in arcade.
It really does. I think one of the problems there is that you're playing. I mean, the Widow works, the McCree kind of works, but then you go to a Hanzo and then you just get lost. I don't. If you're gonna play mystery heroes, get your shenanigans out faster, and then switch to a better composition and stay on it so you actually get ult economy. You know, you're running into a Sombra, your opportunity of winning is so small with how quickly EMP builds that if you're throwing away time, you're gonna lose. And map 5 is a result of that.
Yeah, and we saw, like, especially with the double stun that was able to come through, right? Like, you're able to do a lot to a Sombra composition and to a high bursting damage, and even the tanks as well with the McCree. The Hanzo's also really good. You saw early in Korean Contenders, if you caught that that second match, too. Hanzo's really good in the close proximity against a Sombra, especially with the detection of the Sonic Arrow, but when you're not finding value,
the thing is T1W forced him out. Hanzo is not playing that close of a range, and T1W recognized that, and you have to play to what your opponents are running. Yeah, and they don't, so they lose.
Simple as that.
As simple as that. Yeah,
it really is.
Just don't die, foreheads. That's
just rock, paper, scissors. It's cool.
Well, again, we'll be headed to map 5. I just want to get your guys' take really quickly, because LaFon, I know you had a lot of talking points from the first control. I would say, like, let's put you in the coaching seat for both these teams really quickly. You have 30 seconds essentially to talk about both teams. What do you say to each of them going into map 5?
Oh, man. For T1W, I think you have to continue the efficiency that you had on Junkertown. That was a lot cleaner towards later stages. For LGD, you have to reset. This is map number 1 again, and you know what happened on map number 1. That's the mental state has to come down to it. LGD have to throw Junkertown away, because otherwise they will be bogged down and they will lose.
All right. Well, we'll take a look to see how things go. Nice little quick tip coaching from LaFon. We'll be back with map 5 just after this break. Don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss the conclusion. LGD, T1W tied up in a good one. Lordy, welcome back. We've got map 5 ready to go, and to some of our surprise, it will actually be going to Oasis, which you would think might favor T1W, considering the fact that it is a very DPS-centric control map.
Can you even say that anymore?
I don't know if I can honestly get away with saying that.
I don't know if you can. I mean, like, I'll say it anyway, because I'm a stats guy. Like, 2-0 across the regular season for T1W on this map in particular. LGD only played it 1 time and lost on it, so in the favor of that, sure, you could say T1W definitely has it in their advantage, but if you take a look at their compositions, they're running out a straight-up style with Wyatt on the Moira. A lot of good sustain for themselves, too. I know that LaFon loves seeing this hero in particular, but it can definitely help out against the Sombra.
Yeah, I was about to say that again, just able to. Oh, this is actually a pretty big little boop as Silver 3 is forced onto the low ground, which means LGD can push forward and potentially take this point from the hands of T1W, who were positioned on this first and foremost, but that positioning has flopped, and then immediately pushing through is Silver 3, but gets punished for his over-aggressions. And now there's a big advantage for LGD as Tanshu is able to play aggressively as he so chooses. Rookie's going to follow him up. Illusion not quite able to get taken down as he escapes with his life, but the Moira will likely not find the same success. Although I say that, and she's able to fade right back into the friendly confines of her spawn. With T1W will be able to essentially soft reset and re-engage, but LGD, again, the victors of the first point fight, able to get the first little bit of capture percentage.
T1W is in the favor of the ultimate economy. Pop the rally. They have the coalescence for the middle of the fight here, Shift.
EMP, though, comes down for Wanli immediately afterwards, and the stun from Silver 3 will mean that he gets taken down first, and LGD will be able to turn things around. You said ultimate economy in their favor. I hesitate to mention it because I knew that Wanli was going to hit the trigger on that EMP so soon, and LGD will become now the decisive victors of this first control point and get this capture percentage up pretty significantly high.
Listen, you can have as many ultimates, you can have as many abilities as you want to, but when you have EMP and that stops even Soldier 76 from sprinting and using his legs, that says a lot. And Wanli able to turn that back on his head. Kaneki using the rally as well. They have the Graviton Surge setting up here, and they're going to be able to mirror the grab.
Uh-oh, but there's not a lot of damage being confirmed. The Tanchu gets boosted, though, just as I say that, Kaneki's right in there as well. That will be enough for them to slap on in. And LGD, again, this is why we didn't want to really phrase this too much in favor of T1W. LGD has been all over Oasis on University so far. This will surely be 70% plus before T1W can make a full engagement.
Listen, starting off on University could play in the favor of T1W. I'll touch up on that point in a little bit later because of the 3-2-1 and 3-3 setup that this basically offers. Waya now over to the Zenyatta halfway through. Actually gets picked out. Wanli doing a good job. They're finding so much value in this composition. LGD Gaming are not letting T1W set themselves up. No shield whatsoever. There is lack of resource health here for T1W. LGD Gaming able to put down so much lockdown and so much pressure. Wanli has another EMP here, Shift, walking into what could be the final fight. EMP and Earth Shatter is going to spell and could be the final few nails in the coffin for T1W here on University. They have ultimates themselves, but they have to be very careful how they enter this fight.
We've seen this be the crutch of a lot of wins on the first set of control. Just EMP and then Shatter afterwards. Easy combos, easy life, easy wins.
Sure.
But maybe easier said than done, as you can see Waya does have the Transcendence ready to go. Illusion also with the Sound Barrier. See if those end up getting stacked on top of each other. Nearly a 6-pack of ultimates for both teams here, just kind of posturing and waiting to see when do you hit one. T1W doing actually a really smart job of staying spread apart, so Wanli has to be forced to make a decision of when to use this EMP, but they have to contest the point due T1W. Wanli positioning, just setting out to the sides. Here comes the self-destruct sequence to start things off. Hoyo-chan will use the Sound Barrier just to make sure nobody dies. Remember, Rookie still falls regardless. And that might just be the call to disengage for LGD, sure seems to be. And now finally, T1W getting some capture percentage. 99% that was what it was at for LGD.
You can set yourselves up for one last fight here, and you can take it with EMP, grab, Earthshire. You can literally throw everything in the kitchen sink at T1W, but what's most scary is that they don't have a defensive ultimate for Misha's Graviton Surge, where T1W have both of theirs online.
Yeah.
Oyo-Chen actually used the Sound Barrier at the tail end of that fight, and this could be one ultimate that they want to be waiting for if they don't shut down the grab themselves.
Graviton Surge does start off for Rookie. It will spur out the Transcendence first. Wanli still holding on to an EMP. Now it comes through an Illusion. He will be able to avoid it and come in with a full value Sound Barrier.
Purple.
This is absolutely huge for T1W because now they can essentially push down for free. No support ultimates like you said for LGD, but they used all of their big team fight ults. So now all of a sudden T1W with a stark advantage for the upcoming fight.
Yeah, we have talked about these two teams being over-investors into fights, and we even remember a couple maps ago where we saw 12 ultimates used to literally no avail. And
yeah,
this is just another scene where we see LGD Gaming overcommitting their ultimates too, and now they have to play out this for a longer time. 60%. Hack comes through on Silver 3. They try to aggress onto a Rookie's going to get this Graviton Surge in the middle of this fight.
And can anyone else counter it? Silver 3 will start this off with an Earth Shatter, and it's actually pretty huge as Rookie and Tanchu go down. T1W with the rally as well, just to push forward. It will only be Hybe taken out of mech. That's the only thing LGD can take away in the kill feed, as T1W are now at 75%, counting up, and this is coming down to one more fight.
Yep, but the one last fight is in the favor of LGD Gaming again. No defensive ultimates up for T1W. Like I said, Rookie was going to get the Graviton Surge in the middle of that last fight. They could walk back in with the Graviton Surge very aggressively in the EMP as well. This could be in favor of LGD Gaming, but T1W are winning out this in the neutral fight. They could do it again, but Hybe is still out of mech. This could be very devastating.
Wanli, do you wait?
Oh, tanks you!
Sees the support line, but the Transcendence comes through, though. Not enough for T1W to keep Mija alive, who is so close to a Sound Barrier. Now the easy call for the EMP. Silver 3 instantly taken down. The point has flipped. Overtime is starting to fade away, and I don't think anyone's going to be able to contest in time. LGD just narrowly able to eke out the 100 to 99 after they set themselves up with what was 99% to 0. T1W fighting back and giving themselves, again, a lot of ultimate economy in the middle portions of that map where it looked to be everything stacked up against them.
It could end up playing out a little bit sooner, too. I mean, LGD didn't have to wait for that long, especially for HoYoChen over-investing in the sound barrier. Surely they saw a winnable fight scenario, but not when you have that many members being chunked down, and knowing that Mija was going to have the Graviton Surge inevitably is very, very risky, especially not having Secret onto the Zenyatta instead for the double defensive ultimate, too. You're going to see T1W again as we rotate over to Gardens. Can force Doomfist here, but T1W, they know that they're probably not going to do well in that matchup. They're just playing this straight up in the 3-3. Waya over to the Moira again for their own self-sustain. You get purple, you get hacked. You're going to be able to still help out your team very well.
All right, well, here comes all of that biotic spray coming through for Waya. Is he able to keep everybody alive? Those Silver 3 so low, no biotic orb available at the moment, but now, again, all the juice has been expended. No oranges to squeeze anymore. Just has to find that biotic grasp and try to charge it right back up once again. I got you with that one. Perfect. As the point will actually open up in favor of T1W. So as Waya is able to get closer to this coalescence, depending on how long LGD stay here, T1W might be able to hit the trigger to win a very decisive fight. You can see they're starting to back up just a touch, waiting for the resources to come back online. Again, Waya almost to that coalescence. Meanwhile, though, Only very close to an EMP, so if that gets pulled out, will immediately be hacked away. That very well could be the case. Kaneki very low, will be able to survive just narrowly. EMP ready to go, and it will be hit, but ooh, nice positioning for Waya, able to sidestep around the line of sight, but LGD have found a DMAC +1 kill. Now Rookie committing the Graviton Surge as well. Might be enough to find some more, and it looks like it will be. 35% is what it has been so far for T1W. They're trying to delay for as long as possible, but this should surely be a flip eventually for LGD, right around the 40% mark.
HoYoChen went absolutely Super Saiyan before the Graviton Surge came down and got the sound wave off on to T1W's high being, took the D.Va entirely out of the fight, made them go for a swim. We know that mechs don't really do well in water, but LGD Gaming able to set themselves up on the point now. 45% has been accrued for T1W. They will have ultimates walking into this next fight. They do have the sound barrier. HoYoChen needs to hold on to this. For Mija's Graviton Surge, for any sort of bit of sustain in the middle of Graviton Surge means everything as the rally comes in from all around.
They're trying to get aggressive, but slept his Silver 3, and now Tanshu able to hit up a nice Earth Shatter as well. In support is the Sound Barrier. So LGD looking for a pick, but they're not quite able to find any. So all of those resources, like you mentioned, being used aggressively, but T1W is the one to sustain it and fight back. This will be an instant point flip. LGD only able to accrue 34%, but they use so many resources trying to play aggressively in that team fight, and T1W just shuts it down before it can start.
And T1W can choke out the rest of this point here economically, right? They have the Graviton, they have the Sound Barrier, they got the Bigger Bang combo at that too, and 65% will be around the bout when this fight actually ensues, but Wanli does have the EMP. They're able to find Illusion along with Misha. You're going to be able to win this fight just off of EMP alone. LGD Gaming need to be decisive with how they use their ultimates here.
It's going to have to be someone's got to make a big pick from LGD as Misha's able to start things off with the Sound Barrier. EMP does come through, but again, the Sound Barrier stays away from it. So that's the easy support call for T1W and Illusion to make the go call. 81% counting up towards last fight. They're going to have a Transcendence to support, and LGD are going to have a massive play from Rookie coming up if they want to have a shot to extend this second map set.
I mean, sure, you swap over to D.Va now, but that was very poor usage of the EMP. Once the Bigger Bang combo came out from T1W, you disengage at that point. You just take the wipe because you have one more engage here. Shift, and LGD Gaming, they only have the Graviton to play with, but Waya has the Transcendence available.
And Rookie, again, he needs to get full charge if they want to try to get through that healing, but he's only at 20% charge, now only up to 58. There's not enough damage here. T1W should surely be able to sustain through this with the Transcendent. Silver 3 gets close to being taken down, but he'll be fine to stay on up. Tanshu does have an Earth Shatter, so could we see some heroics from the Reinhardt player of LGD as we still are dealing with a 6v6, and it does find Waya, so 1-for-1 trade, 5-on-5 action. Mija getting very close to the Graviton Surge, but is there enough to really follow up with it, considering they've already lost so many? It looks like T1W will just say, we've already got 99%. LGD still has a long way to go. Let's just back up, make sure we sustain ourselves for our follow-up fight, and that will be the case. It will be the flip for LGD now getting up to 40%.
And the full swap over to 3-3 with the Zenyatta is what LGD needed in this favor, too. I mean, I went ahead and I soft-shaded there that Wanli didn't find any value of the EMP, but the swap over to the full Zen 3-3 is able to set themselves up. Double defensive ultimate available. About to have the Graviton Surge and the Bigger Bang combo with Wanli. T1W T1W does have their own Graviton Surge and Earth Shatter available, but the double defense ultimate from LGD Gaming is huge. Oh, Wanli eats the Graviton from Misha. That's huge.
Absolutely massive. Now all of a sudden, can LGD turn this thing around? Silver 3 tries to hit a shatter, not going to find anything. It will be Hoyo-chan with the sound barrier, and now the Transcendence is also charged. Chanshu can finish things off.
Oh no.
But he's not even going to need to use it, so you still have an Earth Shatter, you still have a Transcendence for T1W. They will have support ultimates coming back through, but this is 100% last fight territory.
Because the Graviton Surge is Eaten, now they have the Transcendence in their back pocket. They use the sound barrier aggressively there. Now they can use the Transcendence for the same. Last fight territory. This is match and series point. LGD Gaming are looking to snuff out T1W's weaknesses and send themselves to the showdown and play upset to T1W, who you would think would walk away with this map decisively, is having such a hard time in the 3-3 mirror matchup.
All it comes down to is the play from Tanshu. He finds Mija with the shatter, but they're not able to finish him off, so T1W looking to fight right back on in as the rally gets popped. Still Transcendences for both teams. Self-destruct sequence pushes back LGD underneath the archway. Transcendence follows up for Waya as he's trying to keep everybody alive, but so is Secret at the same time as both will fade away. We're still dealing with 6v6. All that's left is Kaneki with a rally. Illusion very close to a beat, and that might be what needs to happen for T1W. 99 to 99%. Mija getting close to a Graviton Surge. You still have to contest this for T1W since LGD is the team in possession of the point at the moment. Back and forth we go. Both health pools looking good. Rookie with the Graviton Surge to start things off, and there's the beat. Really clutch timing for Illusion once again.
Mija's got grab.
Out of mech. Mija's got grab, like you said, and it just comes down to when do you use it. How about now?
They don't have anything for it.
And there's nothing to respond. Secret very close to getting the Transcendence, but not quite in time. He's the last player left.
Oh, he can't even touch.
Solo again, and he gets body blocked. Another 199%. Map 5. Map set 3 of Oasis. Winner goes to the grand finals in the Pacific Showdown. Loser goes home with absolutely nothing.
Wanli was not in the right position to try to be anywhere near to suck up that Graviton Surge. Was using the defense matrix to try to shut down Waya, and the fire strikes a Silver 3. So now as we go over to the city center of Oasis, this is the stage that T1W have been waiting for. It just is really unfortunate they had to fight their way through 3-3 compositions to get to this exact moment. You can see that LGD, they understand that this is their map. They're going to play an eccentric amount of DPS. It always has been, even since the times of London Spitfire in the Overwatch League, forcing a variation of this composition that you see. It's going to be a double utility composition. No defensive ultimates between Waya and Illusion. Mija on the Doomfist with High B on the Soldier 76 and Molarun in the sky as Farah. Wanli has a lot of work cut out for them. So you can see they're just going to go back
We're
to
going to go back and swap.
Probably swap over to a Winston variation of the composition that you see. A lot of squishies, but you need to take away this high ground from High B so that way you can end up setting yourself up for a good hack into the backline and even a biotic grenade. Keep in mind during this composition that T1W are playing, there's no diva, it's a solo tank. Silver 3 has to soak up every single cooldown as possible from LGD, so that way the DPS of T1W can succeed.
How appropriate is it that we're dealing with T1W playing for their tournament life on DPS, like we set up at the beginning of the broadcast, and LGD having to respond to it. Tanshu, like you mentioned, going over to the Winston, probably would have been wiser to come out with it to start, but regardless, it is T1W in control of the point. 18%. Silver 3 hacked. Almost take it down, but able to stay alive, grappling his way out. Nolan ran now with a lot of damage, able to take down Kaneki first, and he's got a barrage. He's going to use it, but that's not exactly the highest value position, as a lot of it goes into that center pagoda. So we'll just be a 65 soft reset for LGD. They will give up more percentage time, but they don't have to full reset, which means they can contest a little bit sooner rather than later.
But they have the nano boost available, so they can throw that over to Tankchu to try to just really get in High B's face as well. Here it comes right almost immediately trying to take the high ground away. Rookie's just sitting there. Cannot eat the sleep dart though.
And Rookie gets taken out of mech and then immediately followed up, which means High B can essentially free fire for exactly that, free. Does get poked by a little bit of poke from Secret, but he'll be able to live through that no problem with the biotic field put down at his feet. Rez comes into Silver 3, so T1W with a very big advantage. Oh, big EMP able to find 5, but is there any follow-up? That's the biggest question. It seemed a little over-aggressive considering there weren't the full numbers here. Tanshu is trying just to stay alive. We'll catch a repair pack to keep him at full HP. Hoyo-chan just able to barely get the beat off before he falls, but this is a desperate fight for LGD. They're just trying to stay alive through it. They're not really fighting on their own terms, and T1W says, keep trying. We're here all day long. Hy-Vee on the high ground has a tactical visor ready to go, and he'll pop it. Immediately goes to low ground. He does get hacked, but looked to be, but he's able to still retain the tactical visor. Kenobi going down, Wanli as well, 89%, and T1W have a huge advantage moving forward, not only in the percentage, but also in the numbers. But Rookie,
Good bomb.
For 2, so they can keep trying to fight this one back. You need a flip sooner rather than later, as this will go to 99%, but the point does get flipped. One more life in play for LGD.
Now here's the real tricky part, right? Because LGD Gaming are playing on this 3-2-1 setup, it's going to be very hard to dislodge that composition. So T1W, to recognize that, they go over to their own variation, a Winston 3-3 composition. LGD are actually heading back to spawn here. Probably going to be looking for a Rien Zarya swap, but this is going to be really late, too.
Very
T1W,
late.
they are already on the point, too. Wanli has a lot of work cut out for them. They got to basically fend them back themselves. You can see the silhouettes on your screen. T1W already set up on the high ground. They're already on the point.
Oh, but they're able to come back just in time. The point was being contested. And now Rookie already near full charge, but Kenobi goes down first. Illusion is sleeping, so potential for this round. Biotic Grenade is big with the EMP. Is there enough to fight this back? 2 players fall for T1W, and LGD are just still in this. But again, they're fighting with abbreviated numbers. Ninja's still alive, but he's at low charge, so he's essentially absolutely nullified, but they still have numbers. So LGD have to find a way to fight this and still stay in contest while they wait for their frontliners to come back. Finally, Tanshu rejoins the fight. T1W also has 6 players, so we're back to 6v6. The point still in control for LGD, so that capture percentage is moving up to around the 60% mark. Silver gets swept mid-jump, and he'll be left there for a small time. Biotic Grenade is big, but Silver's able to get away, but not as Mullen ran. The sound barrier gets used for LGD. They still have a boost, and they're trying to chase everybody down. This is 70% plus. If they find staggers, this could just be maybe the end for T1W. They're gonna have to fight back in desperate form.
Because of the nature of the terrain of City Center and Napadoga in the center, if this fight is going to last for way too long. This is last fight territory here, Shift. We have a showdown spot on the line, tournament lifeline on the line. Who will be going to the grand finals? LGD versus T1W. T1W with a series of support ultimates themselves. They will get the Graviton Surge. Both teams will, in fact. But the difference maker will be the EMP on the tank shoe and the EMP. It already comes through.
EMP to start. They're trying to get aggressive, but where's the follow-up? There's nobody here yet, so T1W is going to be able to sustain themselves through this high, be able to thrust away as he was getting low HP, able to stay alive and not having to force out the Transcendence.
He's got grab.
Here comes Rookie with the Graviton Surge, immediately met by a Transcendence, the Nano Boost, and now the Shatter comes into play. Ninja's down. Silver 3 is in the Primal Rage, but he's not going to be able to sustain through it for very long. We're still dealing with 5v5, though. A lot of support and frontliners still available.
They're turning this back.
Is able to find Wan Lee. It just comes down to Silver 3. Can he find the distraction? Tanshu, you need to stay alive.
No, they can't get on.
And they get booped away. Are you kidding me, T1W? They're just able to push back a couple of players, and they will find the victory. Oh my goodness, it came down to just a couple of players, and the sound wave at the end was enough to push back the front line. T1W take it 2-1 in an insane map 5, and they will not only go to the grand finals, but will also represent China in the Pacific Showdown. What an ending to an insane set.
Ultimate Warfare going back and forth, but because of, again, the nature of the terrain, the fight lasted for such a long time, Shift, that you get off the point for even a hot second, it's going to be all over. The Primal Rage was absolutely massive from Silver 3. They always have these hot and cold moments, but that moment right there was very hot. A very good Primal Rage to dislodge and to basically break up the entire team of LGD Gaming and pull themselves ahead. I mean, this matchup was probably a little bit too close for comfort if you're on the side of T1W, but LGD Gaming, they played so well today. Wanli had a very impressive Sombra. It just fell up short there at the end, and my God. I mean, LGD, I mean, sure, you're not going to be going to the showdown. Sure, you're not going to be in the grand finals with Chinese contenders, but you got to be feeling pretty good about that match regardless.
Wow. What an absolute
You can try, I
matchup.
guess. You should try to feel good about it.
Yeah, you should try to feel good about it, but there's a lot of things they're going to be left kind of regretting. Let's bring in LaFon, who will give us, I'm sure, the honest take as far as things that look good and things that maybe looked a little bit sloppier than they should have for a team that we expected to essentially run away with this one. But we also said this one could go 5, and it absolutely did, down to the wire. LaFon, give me your total take of this last map.
I mean, between these two teams, historically they've always gone the 3-2, right? This has been always so close for each other. I don't know. Both these teams, there seems to be matchups, things that happen. You know, we see it in Overwatch League with the 2 LA teams. We see it with the Battle of Texas as well. And here between the 2 Chinese superpowers in terms of Overwatch, I think you have to say the same thing, right? LGD versus T1W. man, the fact that it comes down to a last fight in third stage, map number 5. I have to say that T1W got so lucky, like really, really lucky. Like that was,
really
you know, LGD I think were across the match the better team, but T1W off the back of a wacky Junkertown and 2 fights on Oasis, that's the difference maker, right? That's the difference maker here, and that's why they're heading to our grand finals. There's so many